This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes,
I don't
you're
like
right.
that.
You're 100% right.
Daily Blast Live starts now. Daily Blast starts now. Let's get ready and milk our cow.
Thank you, Creed Bratton. We have a new interview with the office star coming up later in the show. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, July 8th. We are live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. I'm here with Stephanie, Tori, Brandon, and I am Sam. Let's get started. Well, the U.S. women's soccer team is flying high after their historic win in the Women's World Cup final yesterday. They dominated the Netherlands 2-0 to take home the World Cup. The team was celebrating after their victory in the locker room, singing "We Are the Champions," drinking champagne, and check this out, even, let's see it, ladies, get it, twerking like champs. But now the team has a new battle ahead of them, their legal fight for equal pay. And soccer fans seem to support them, erupting into chants demanding equal pay following their win. 28 members of the team have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation alleging gender discrimination. In response, the U.S. Soccer Federation says that any alleged pay differential is due to differences in revenue generated by the teams. Here's what team captain Megan Rapinoe says about that.
I think everyone is ready for this conversation to move to the next step. I think we're done with the are we worth it, should we have equal pay. Every player at this World Cup put on the most incredible show that you could ever ask for. We can't do anything more.
I mean, you're a former athlete.
Yeah.
These women generate higher ratings. They are winning more, right, than the men. So why is there still pay disparity?
I think because we're living in this antiquated world where we think that men's sports are so much dominant than women's sports. And yes, in a physical manner, but when you're talking about this is your fourth World Cup that you won, and the men didn't even qualify for last 2008, last year's World Cup. I mean, it's a no-brainer. We talk about performance. If you're outperforming your counterpart, you should get paid just as much or more than that person. Absolutely.
More.
Yeah, I think, and people do raise the fact, like, look, their numbers are only coming up now. We're seeing, but I really want you to think about cause and effect here, right? So is the cause and effect because now they're doing well, we're seeing more, and now the jerseys are getting famous? Or is it because FIFA never put in money for marketing and we never actually gave eyeballs to these people, and that's why they never got it?
They didn't put money in for eyeballs because people weren't as interested.
But see, that's the opposite effect of that. If you gave more marketing, more people would see it. So which is it? Is it the cause and effect that they didn't really put any standing behind these teams that keeps winning over and over again? Maybe they should re-affect. Now, they're at 90% of the men. It's no question. She said it. You move up. It's absolutely no question.
For pay parity. It's time. You don't agree?
No, I think over the next year or so, yes, they've already moved up from they were earning one ninth to 90% in the last few years.
Why wouldn't they earn equally?
Because there's not as many people interested in women's soccer, let's be honest.
They have high numbers.
Only recently.
That's not true, Stephanie.
No.
2015 Women's World Cup was the highest watched soccer game in American history, men or women.
Yeah,
our men haven't been to the World Cup in quite some time.
The World Cup is a lot bigger than America,
But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about our women's national team. Name one person on the men's team. Go.
I don't know anyone on the American team.
One at a time.
Name one person on the women's team.
I can't tell you one, darling, because I'm not interested in it because they don't play at the same level that men do. I'm sorry. That's why people don't advertise as much. And yes, they are doing slowly now. And yes, the pay gap is coming along nicely. And do they deserve it? Yes, they do. But until they bring in the same numbers, it's simply not going to happen. Okay, so should we all earn as much as Oprah Winfrey because we're on TV every day and we're doing a great job? And yes, it is. We don't get the same numbers, so we're not going to earn the same amount. It's a simple basic math.
We're going to have to leave it here.
I'll leave her with this. Megan Rapinoe, baby. Take that.
We'll leave it here. We'll continue the conversation during the break.
Yes,
so make sure you stay tuned to our breaks. Well, it is the running of the bulls in Spain right now, but the annual event where people run in front of a group of cattle turned violent when 2 Americans were injured. And one of those men, a 46-year-old from San Francisco, is in grave condition after he was gorged in the neck by one of the bulls. He's reportedly fighting for his life right now. The 9-day festival is a centuries-old tradition, which brings in 1 million tourists to the Spanish city of Pamplona each year. But the recent injuries have many asking, is it time to get rid of this tradition? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Tori, this is not a new story. I know that's
Right.
getting new eyeballs, but not only do people get injured, dozens of people get injured every year, but the bulls not only get injured during the run, but then they get slaughtered during the bullfights.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where I have a hard time saying to another country, hey, this is outdated, but I'm really comfortable doing that with this one. It's a tradition, right? And people are going to say, hey, it's a tradition. Well, some traditions aren't meant to be kept. They're outdated and they're horrible to the animal. They're horrible to the people, as we see. This one needs to be, in my opinion, wrapped up.
So I
agree.
feel empathy on your part because I know you're an activist for animals. So for the bull, I feel the empathy there. But if you are a grown person and you're going out there drinking sangria, you're drinking wine, and you choose to run,
It's like
with
running in the
bulls,
middle of a freeway.
Exactly. If you get hit, you get
it's your
hit.
fault.
Now I'll pray for the families involved, and
Of
I hope they
course.
pull through. But at the same
Totally.
time, you're putting yourself willingly in that
Yeah.
position.
Darwinism.
There's
If you want to
literally
do that, do it.
Final thought.
No sympathy for these people whatsoever. You know exactly what you're letting yourselves in for. And I have no sympathy for people that go and actively want to laugh and torture animals. This is a form of torture for these poor cattle, which will then later go on to be slaughtered in front of thousands of people.
agree.
So you know what? You got a horn through your neck. Soz, I don't give a beep. Whatever.
Whole nother level.
Don't care.
Let's take a look at what DBL Nation has to say. Is it time to get rid of the running of the bulls? 50-50. All right.
Interesting.
Okay. Let's get to this next story because it is definitely generating a lot of heat on social media. Starbucks is coming under fire right now over an incident at Tempe, Arizona store. The popular coffee chain has issued an apology after a group of 6 police officers were asked to leave a store on the 4th of July by a barista. Why? Well, this was apparently because a customer said the officers made them feel unsafe. The Tempe Officers Association tweeted about the incident with this Dump Starbucks logo saying they, quote, don't appreciate Starbucks asking our cops to leave your establishment on the 4th of July. Several of those cops are veterans. Starbucks apologized saying, quote, when those officers entered the store and a customer raised a concern over their presence, they should have been welcomed and treated with dignity and the utmost respect by our partners. Tori, what do you think?
Well, we've come a long way from when you've seen diners give free coffee to cops. I mean, that really was the 1950s, 60s aspect of that. And I think what you're seeing is a response by people in Arizona that were run by a sheriff, Joe Arpaio, who was, I think, in my manner, way out of his line.
Racial profiling.
And convicted for such, then pardoned. But I will say, you're seeing this response now happening. It was a white person, white cops, 6 of them, presumably with their guns, and the man said, I don't feel comfortable in my sightline. The barista asked them to either move out of their sightline or leave. They chose to leave. Do I think Starbucks is the place to show your protest? No. So I think this is wrong. The barista was wrong. It was disrespectful. Starbucks need to apologize. Do I think you can have civil disobedience against brutality against police? Yes, I do.
I'm half and half on this only because it's like, all right, when something goes wrong, who are you going to call? You're not calling
That's right.
Ghostbusters. You're calling the police.
That's
and for
right.
them to be asked to leave in that situation, I feel as though that was wrong. But the black man in me, who have seen people be called the cops because they're only in the Starbucks minding their own business, I'm kind of like, you know, I hope this breeds some sort of empathy to those cops for the next time they answer some call from Barbecue Becky or Cornerstone Carrie or whatever, and they realize that, hey, this happens on a daily basis to people of color.
Great conversation. I think this is a symptom of some sort of disconnect between civilians and the local police there, and I really hope that they can bridge that gap.
For sure.
So, and let's understand it. Well, a New York couple is suing over a fertility clinic mix-up. You're not going to believe this story. The lawsuit alleges that the couple, who is Asian, gave birth to 2 baby boys who were not theirs. They weren't even Asian. They say the 2 babies were a genetic match to 2 other couples. The Asian couple was forced to give up their babies to their genetic parents. Now they're suing for medical malpractice and negligence. As a parent, I can't even imagine carrying that child, being attached to the child, building up the nursery, talking to your child in your womb, and then having to give that child away. I mean, this is a horrific abuse of negligence.
The trauma, because not only are they not related to the baby in any way, the babies aren't related to each other. So the amount of conflicting emotions on this person that carried and then had to give back a baby that was, this to me is, I would sue for everything they got.
Yeah.
I would sue for everything.
But it's like a wrongful death thing. No amount of money can take away that pain you feel at that same time.
But you want to bury this. Honestly, you want to take these
For
people
sure.
down. That's
This is going to be a monumental loss. You've got to think, for this couple that obviously have desperately wanted a child.
Spent hundreds of thousands, that's right.
Spent like you said, I don't even want to imagine how much money to go through the 9 months of believing after, you know, trying so hard to then give that child up. I mean, I can't even imagine the pain, the suffering, and that's something that, you know, makes me think of their mental health.
Of course.
This is going to be something that's going to haunt them for life.
Of course.
It's
and I think you
awful.
just hit the nail on the head. Not only was this family recovering from all the trauma from going through failed IVF treatment after failed IVF treatment and never thinking they would have children again, and then finally getting that phone call that she's pregnant, thinking that their miracle has been granted, and then to have that all taken away from you. I can't even imagine. Our thoughts and prayers go to that family. Unbelievable. DBL's Live will bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Coming up, Tori sits down with the hilarious office star Creed Bratton and gets the scoop on his new show. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. A mother gets arrested for leaving her 4-year-old child in the car while she went to a job fair. Some people say she deserves a break. What do you think? We're going to share your comments coming up next.
Hi DBL Nation, it's Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news, but I think the desk wanted to continue talking about the U.S. women's team, so let's go. Hey guys, did you want to continue talking about the U.S. women's team?
Yes, please, because I think Stephanie's a little mad, still mad right now because we beat England in the semifinal.
No, I don't. I've got no problem with that. They outplayed us fair and square. That's fine.
Yeah, but we're talking about that fight here. This lawsuit isn't against FIFA. And FIFA is, I believe, like the Football International Federation Association. That's on the international level. This lawsuit is against the U.S. Soccer Federation.
There was a long-standing gap.
I mean, if you look at it,
that has disappeared.
like I said, 2015, the last Women's World Cup was the most watched U.S. soccer game in U.S. history, men's and women's. Nike this year has said that women's jerseys are the highest sales on its website in one season, and they are bringing in more total revenue.
You're right. I don't think they get a portion of their of their jerseys, which is abhorrent considering that I believe the men's team does.
Yep, the men's team and then NFL and NBA basketball, you get that some of that money. You get a kickback.
That definitely should
be mandatory.
Yeah, of course. I don't disagree with that at all. But I think in terms of the actual sport, how young it is in terms of its audience, they're not quite there yet. Even though they've won the last 4 years, they're not quite there yet. They're not.
Yeah, because our MLS teams are doing better than the NWSL, which is the National Women's Soccer League. So if you feel motivated to continue to help out and continue to have some sort of voice to get these women equal pay, make sure you're not only supporting our women's national team, but support their clubs teams as well. So the female version of the MLS is the NWSL, and they play around our country. They go to different cities as well, just like any other soccer league. So please don't be one of those people who are like, yeah, equal pay, but then after, we don't hear about this for a couple months, you kind of go away. Support our women. Meg Rapinoe, you're a hero to me. My niece absolutely loves you. She just started soccer, so thank you for all you've done.
I love her too. Welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth Host. When we talk about what you're talking about, a single mom in Florida is being charged with child neglect for leaving her 4-year-old alone in a car to attend a job fair. She allegedly left her daughter in the car for more than an hour with air conditioning, a cell phone, and instructions to call the police if something bad happened. The woman's bail was initially set for $5,000, but it was cut in half because her lawyer argued that she was struggling financially as a part-time college student and that she also made attempts to care for her daughter while she was away. So DBL Nation, we got to hear from you on this one. Does this mom deserve a break? Let's get right to their comments.
All right, let's go, DBL Nation. Sarah from Facebook says, people need to understand that in order to get a job, you have to do some things. It doesn't sound like she has any help and is trying to get things together. Absolutely. I'm torn on this, just because I think about she probably exhausted every option, and that's what it says in the article as well. But at the same time, and where we are in 2019, there are some predators out there. So many things could have gone wrong. So I'll leave it up to the prosecutors. I'm not a single parent.
Carrie from Facebook says, if she didn't have childcare to go to a job fair, then how is she planning on going to work every day without childcare? So before, my first reaction was to so judge this person. I have to be super honest. I'm like, the AC was running. That means the car was on. Someone could have driven away with this child. Then I took a talk with Brandon, to be honest, in the backstage, and I realized she's trying to do the very best she can. So let's talk about, yes, this was wrong, but let's cover that in empathy, because this woman is really trying to make it work. And I'm sure she was trying to make it work to have some childcare as well.
Kyle from Facebook says, this woman deserves a break.
Yeah.
I hope they do not make an example out of her by taking her child. She was trying to be a good parent and was clearly desperate. You know what? I'd like to see this as a call to action to the job fairs, because obviously these are big companies and corporations that could quite easily provide a room with some assistance for a couple of hours for the people hopefully coming to work for them. So I think that should be
like
mandatory practice.
I love that.
You know?
Very important.
You see that at Gold's Gym a lot.
Yeah. It'd be nice if we saw more of that in this country. I like that, Stephanie. Barbara from Facebook says, you should never leave a child alone anywhere. No one would be empathetic towards the mom if the child was taken. Listen, I have a lot of empathy for single moms out there. In fact, I don't know how you do it. I praise you. But you can't leave a 4-year-old alone in a car. If that car ran out of gas, if that air conditioning broke, that child would be dead in a matter of minutes in a hot car. So you just can't do it. Does it mean that I think they should make an example out of her? No. Does it mean that I think that the child should be taken away from her? No. But there should be some sort of repercussions here, so other parents don't think that they can just go ahead and leave their child in a car. Sorry.
Yeah, Marie from Facebook says, as a young mother, I made several mistakes trying to be a good parent. I'm sure the mom feels badly. Why not give her a pass? It will likely never happen again. Yeah, it could be one of those things where we say it could never happen again, but if something, like we said, a tragedy would have happened, we would be speaking in a different tone, and we'd be talking about jail time instead of showing any sorts of empathy. So, like I said, it's hard out there for those single mothers out there, man. And I love what all of you are doing out there. So, like I said, I'll keep my 2 cents out of this.
And I think what Stephanie said was really important. If we can have more people, especially the government, this country, talk about childcare, make mandated childcare be a thing like you see in Canada and other countries, then you wouldn't see so many single parents doing everything they can in order to put food on the table, but also all that money ends up going to childcare.
But you know what the problem with that is, Sam? Because they're going to say, oh, we need to tax more, we need to go into other people's pockets, but then that's when people are going to be like, oh, no, now I have to pay for somebody else's child care.
It's investing in our own.
Yeah.
At some point, we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
And we're all Americans, and we got to start thinking that way.
Yeah, it's an investment.
Because we're overstressed as it is,
Thank you for writing in. We love hearing what you all have to say. Stevie Wonder left fans stunned with an update on his health. Raquel Villanueva has that news at the moment.
That's right, Sam. Stevie Wonder says he will have a kidney transplant in the fall. He made the announcement to fans this weekend at a concert. The 69-year-old music icon says he'll do 3 more shows before taking a break to focus on his health. Stevie says the surgery is scheduled for September, and he told fans he wanted to let them know what was going on before any rumors started. He says he has a donor match and reassures fans that he will be okay.
I'm so happy he had a donor match. That's the hardest part.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you can tell anyone and advocate for anyone to become a donor, you can save lives. As soon as we said it on this panel, we got people writing in, my son was saved, my daughter was saved. So please know this
and you've seen it firsthand.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, all right, well, he will definitely be in our thoughts and prayers, but the fact that he is a donor is really great news. Coming up on DBL, Tori gets to live out her Dunder Mifflin dream as she talks with Office star Creed Bratton. That's next in today's Chatting with the Stars.
I am Patty Donnelly, and I am the Senior Supervising Producer at Daily Blast Live. I manage the show and the staff, and I oversee creative and help pick the stories. And I also help by just using my past experience to better produce pieces and content on the show. A typical day at DBL for me starts at 6:30 in the morning, and that is super early. So it generally starts with me hitting snooze 4 times and then going to Starbucks and then rolling in at 6:30 on the dot. Whew, it's hard. And in the morning when we come in is my first meeting of the day. It's at 6:30, and it's the creative content meeting, and it's with just 4 other producers and then Chris Clark, the executive producer of the show, and myself. And basically we hear what stories are going on, what has been happening overnight, what the news is, and we start planning the show and what we're gonna put in it and what stories we care about. It's actually my favorite time of the day. It's really fun, and it's my favorite thing ever, which kind of sucks that it's like in the morning, because after that, then there's nothing to look forward to. But I love that meeting. Since it's such a small group, we laugh a lot and tell a lot of jokes, and just come up with some really great ideas because of it, and it's really awesome. What I like best about working at DBL as opposed to other shows is that we have a really cool culture here, and it is a lot different from when I worked in LA, meaning we put the show above, we care about the show, we want the show to do well, but we don't put it above ourselves. And that's something that a lot of times in LA, you sacrifice a lot to make sure the show is awesome. And here I think almost have our priorities in balance a little more, and we laugh a little.
Welcome back to DBL. You know Creed Bratton from his self-titled character on The Office. Well, I got to sit down with the actor to talk about his new show, and I even got inspired to live my own Dunder Mifflin dream. Take a look. Creed Bratton, welcome to Daily Blast Live. Now, Creed, the whole internet is going crazy because Netflix just announced that The Office is leaving in 2021. It is the service's #1 watch show. So, Creed, suggest a few activities that we fans can do to pass the time after The Office leaves.
I don't even know how to comment on this, Tori. There's people outside my door right now screaming with placards and stuff. And save Creed, don't get, I like they're going to get rid of me because they're moving it. I don't know what they're doing.
Now, the story of your character joining the cast of The Office is insane. You basically wrote yourself in.
I was working on the Bernie Mac show, and Ken Kwapis, the director, came on, and I was a big fan of The Office, so I beseeched Ken to see if he could get me in on the show. He told me he'd try to work me into the mix. I wrote my own talking head, about an hour's worth of material, shot it, and that's it. Then I was on the show, so that was the story.
So wait, you can write yourself into a show?
Hey, brah, I've been meaning to ask you, can we get some Red Bull for these things? Sometimes the guy's got to ride the bull. Am I right?
So Creed only calls me Bra because he doesn't know my name, and we've worked together for 6.5 years. So. Perfect. Well, speaking of your new show, the theme of Into the Dark Culture Shock is incredibly relevant today. We talked about stuff on our show and every week about it. Immigration, assimilation. Talk to me about your experience on the show and how it is sort of borderline mirroring what's going on right now.
Absolutely. We have a Hispanic woman, I should say, from Mexico. She is trying to come in she's pregnant now, and she's trying to get into America to have her baby born there so she can have a better life with her child and herself. When she crosses the border with a coyote, she gets involved. It's like the immigration put into a cell, but it's far worse than anything you could possibly imagine. It's creepy and horrific. I can't give away details because they have to see the show. Culture shock, folks. It's important.
On Hulu, it's starting this 4th of July. Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. Bye.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hey Beauty Blast, it's Jeray for the Slay, and today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite red light beauty tips. Now, these aren't tips you should be doing at the red light. These are tips that we should be doing when we only have a little bit of time, but we really want a beautiful look. Now, you can do this for every day too. I know I sure do, but I love these for when I'm in a quick fix as well. So my first one I want to share with you guys today is going to be eyeshadow sticks. These are a makeup artist's dream. Now, the reason why we have eyeshadow sticks is for quick fixes for eye makeup. Who doesn't want a really cute eye look and not have to spend 1,000 hours, 1,000 minutes, whatever it is? You just don't want to spend that much time, right? I know I don't. So for that reason, we bring out eyeshadow sticks. Now you can get eyeshadow sticks for as cheap as NYX Cosmetics, which isn't that cheap. It's actually a really great line, but it's very affordable. These guys range from between $6 to $8, and then you can even spend a little bit more for an eyeshadow stick like from NARS Cosmetics, and these guys are gonna have a primer built in, so there's no extra work. With these guys, it's pretty simple. You take off the lid, you roll it on up, and you smudge it on your eye. for a quick fix, just press out with your finger and you're good to go. Now, if you're really got maybe a little extra 30 seconds or so, take your bronzer and brush it straight through your crease. This will give you an instant daytime look that's gonna be sure to make everyone stare and say, oh, hey girl, what's that? All right, guys, that's all for today. Until next time, keep slaying, queens. Have a good one.
Welcome back to DBL. Alaska is dealing with a record heat wave right now, and everyone is doing what they can to stay cool, even the wildlife. Check out this video of a moose just chilling in a sprinkler.
Oh, that is the best.
He's so hot. Oh my gosh. The owner of Big Swig Tours in Anchorage captured the moment and says the animal was sprinkler hopping from yard to yard before finally settling down for a good old soak. High temperatures will continue to take a run at 90 degrees. Normal temps this time of year in Anchorage are in the mid 60s.
Yeah,
so
it's
he's
90 degrees.
Wow. He's hot.
I love
But I do
that.
hope he really amused himself.
The pharaoh. Someone said what? Someone just gasped. Someone said what? All right, we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Hi guys, Kelly Schubert with the DBL Digital team.
2 minutes.
Bert is saying he watched the tee up for that and watched Tori like really go for that one and not quite hit it out of the park. Anyway, I'm here to talk to Tori about. There was a gasp.
There was.
And there was a what?
There was a what and a gasp.
It may have been me.
It probably was. Probably was.
We're here to talk about the earthquakes that happened over the weekend in California. Very concerning. But I wanted to talk to you about it because you've lived in California. Did you have some sort of earthquake preparedness kit?
Everybody did.
And so what's in that?
So earthquake kits are a lot of water, and you have water filters because the big thing is water. There's
Okay.
always like MREs, which are rations like soldiers would get. They're like dehydrated food.
Okay.
There's a motion activated flashlight.
Okay.
So that if you
Oh,
run out of batteries,
ooh,
there's
you can-
batteries, but
I
you can go
see.
like this and pump
Cool.
the thing.
That makes
There's,
sense.
I think, a whistle.
Okay.
A whistle for some reason. I'm not sure what the whistle's like. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, maybe if you get like stuck under like some
Yeah,
rubble or something of the
exactly.
sort, that's a really good idea.
Are there pockets in this? There are no pockets. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so it was all these things that you kind of also should think about having in your car. Things like a flashlight, things like
Definitely the flashlight. I have one of those flashlights too.
Yeah, so, but yeah, everyone in LA had that, and everyone talked about the big one. What's scary is the combination of both of them so quick together.
Yes,
7.1,
the 6.4 and then the 7.1, and now they've had 3,000 aftershocks.
Yeah, now just so you know, they are on an earthquake. They will have the big one. And many people say it will fall off the coast, and that will happen. So if you live in LA or California, you will sort of accept the fact that this is part of your life. Much like Tornado Alley, you accept the fact that there's tornadoes
Makes
coming.
sense.
But it is terrifying because there's a lot of tall buildings. So I worked at Reels Channel, and when it shook like this.
Anyways, guys, if you live in California, please let us know. Write in if you saw anything. I had a friend whose pool was swiping back and forth.
It's crazy.
Anyways, guys, see you soon.
Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live. Always real. Always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like that?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, July 8th. We are live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. I'm here with Erica, Stephanie, Al, and I'm Sam. Jeff has the day off. Let's get started. Happy about that?
Yeah, I'm like, where's my day off? Just got back. You could tell I need a haircut and everything. I had a good time.
Did you have a good birthday?
I did. Yeah, happy birthday to me. 42.
Yeah.
Right.
Looking good.
There should be a 1 in front of that 4.
No, you look good, Al.
Thank you.
You two are back to back, so your birthday was the 29th.
We're almost birthday twins.
Yeah.
Almost.
Did you have a good birthday?
It was wonderful. Yeah, I'm the day after Al, so we're little Cancer twins.
That's right.
All right, let's get to this first story. The U.S. women's soccer team is flying high after their historic win in the Women's World Cup final yesterday. They dominated the Netherlands 2-0 to take home the World Cup. The team was celebrating after their victory in the locker room, singing "We Are the Champions," drinking champagne, and let's see them. There they are. Yep, even twerking like champs. But now the team has a new battle ahead of them, their legal fight for equal pay. And soccer fans seem to support them, erupting into chants demanding equal pay following their win. 28 members of the team have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation, alleging gender discrimination. In response, the U.S. Soccer Federation says that any alleged pay differential is due to differences in revenue generated by the teams. Here's what team captain Megan Rapinoe says about that.
I think everyone is ready for this conversation to move to the next step. I think we're done with the are we worth it, should we have equal pay. Every player at this World Cup put on the most incredible show that you could ever ask for. We can't do anything more.
Yeah, I mean, according to ESPN and every single sports site that I saw, MSN Sports, they all looked at the numbers, right, over the last 5 years and says these ladies generate more revenue and garner higher TV ratings than the men's. So why aren't they correcting this pay disparity right now?
Well, I think that there's going to be a forcible situation happening based on what we call common sense. When you are transparent about things, especially if you're going to say it's based on revenue, then there are these things called accounting and receipts. If we come back and we audit the situation and see that they in fact do generate more revenue than the men, then they have to put their money where the mouth is, literally. So I'd like to see that done stat.
See, I just think that these are only very recent statistics, and in the history of football, I come from the country where it is our main sport. The numbers are only just correlating, like literally in the last few years. So we need more advertising to pay for these women. The pay gap is still large, but they're already at 90% of what the men earn anyway. So it's not that much of a bigger difference at the moment.
It's still not equal when they're making
but they don't
more
do
money,
I'm sorry, but they just don't. It's got nothing to do with like how well they do or don't play. I think they earn a phenomenal salary for the level at which they're at. I'm sorry.
I don't think they earn enough. And if you look at the statistics from before, they did not get equal exposure. They did not get equal marketing. They did not, still to this day, they don't get any sort of profits from their jerseys when the men do. So they're always set up to fail. And even when they were set up to fail, they still exceeded the men.
Right, they did. And you guys know this. I mean, not with this company, but every time it's time for anybody to get paid, everybody's arms get real short. Like, oh, we would. They print money with FIFA. I mean, as far as I know, the world's most popular sport. They have the money to pay these women an extra, a couple $100,000. This is a way to suppress people. Anytime people feel they've been unjustly treated, they just go, well, get the receipts. We don't know what happened. We know what happened. Women weren't allowed to be showcased. I know this. I was in LA at my local diner, and I heard my dive bar, my old school dive bar, going crazy at noon. And I was like, what is that? It was the Women's World Cup at noon. noon. So a lot of people profited off of this. A lot of bartenders made a lot of money at noon.
Amen, honey.
So like, let's pay these women.
And just to say, in
Final
terms
thought.
of like the actual percentage, as I was recently told not that long ago, you always have to work for $10 and get paid for $9. That doesn't sit well for me. It shouldn't sit well for anyone, because the idea of that also harkens back to the idea of men being the primary household earners.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. So we need to get up to speed, and then we'll have less women who are in desperate situations because they're working $10 and only getting paid $9.
Well said, Erica. All right, we've got more amazing female sporting news coming up with an update about tennis star Coco Gauff. At 15, she is the youngest player ever to play at Wimbledon, and she's even catching the eye of one of tennis' biggest stars. We'll talk all about that later in the show. You do not want to miss it. Well, it's the running of the bulls in Spain right now, but the annual event where people run in front of a group of cattle turned violent when 2 Americans were injured. And one of those men, a 46-year-old from San Francisco, is in grave condition after he was gored in the neck by one of the bulls. He's reportedly fighting for his life right now. The 9-day festival is a centuries-old tradition, which brings in 1 million tourists to the Spanish city of Pamplona each year. But the recent injuries have many asking, is it time to get rid of this tradition? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Stephanie, how do you feel about this?
This is a tradition in Europe that's been going on for centuries. The fact that 2 American people have been injured is no new news.
Yeah, every
this
year
happens
dozens get injured.
every single year. You know what you're signing up for when you go to that event. You are putting your life in danger. And to be honest, I don't give a monkeys that they have been hurt, because guess what happens to these 6 bulls? They'll get put in a ring in front of thousands of people where they are slaughtered and tortured and, you know, get stabbed until they die. So you choose to go do that, on your head be it.
Yeah, it feels like a very barbaric tradition that I feel like has run its course. In fact, this town has actually lost a lot of revenue because people, it's almost put a stain on this town because of the fact that it's seen as so cruel nowadays. So I think people and money have spoken that this has become a little bit antiquated, in my opinion, and a little bit barbaric.
I don't think it's going to change, though.
You know, I mean, look, when we talk about drugs, people automatically go to opioids. They go to marijuana. Adrenaline is a drug. And we've talked in the last couple months about people that we have to go get because they're hanging off the side of a cliff, dangling to life because they needed that drug adrenaline and they got hurt doing so. This is the same thing. These are people that, as far as I know, bought a plane ticket, went down here, got dressed up in the traditional garb, and stood in front of a bull. And sometimes when you stand in front of a bull, this is what happens. I'm not being indifferent to pain, but this is what they signed up for. Unless that bull came busting through their living room, I really don't have that much sympathy. I'm sorry, homie.
Yeah, I think you're not alone. Let's see what our DBL Nation says. 55% of you say yes, it is time to get rid of the running of the bulls. All right, let's get to this next story because a lot of people on social media are fired up. Starbucks is coming under fire right now over an incident at a Tempe, Arizona store. The popular coffee chain has issued an apology after a group of 6 police officers were asked to leave a store on the 4th of July by a barista. Why? Well, this was apparently because a customer said the officers made them feel unsafe. The Tempe Officers Association tweeted about the incident with this dumped Starbucks logo, saying they, quote, don't appreciate Starbucks asking our cops to leave your establishment on the 4th of July. Several of those cops are veterans. Starbucks apologized, saying, quote, when those officers entered the store and a customer raised a concern over their presence, they should have been welcomed and treated with dignity and the utmost respect by our partners. Now, there's many layers to the story because initially I thought this is very disrespectful to the police officers, and on the surface it is. But after reading, not only hearing from you, Erica, but reading from the community, I was looking under the hashtag and seeing what Tempe residents were saying, and they really underscored how they don't feel respected and how they do fear their local police, and even to the fact that Starbucks, way back when, before this even was a situation in Tempe, they had an initiative, of community outreach initiative called Cops and Coffee, because they knew that there was so much upset and unrest in Tempe that they were trying to get ahead of the situation back then. So talk a little bit more about that.
You know, first of all, I know we have to say this, although we shouldn't have to. I am not anti-cop. I want to offer people an alternative idea of why this happens. There was a residential coffee shop called Hasta Muerte. It's in Fruitvale neighborhood, which is in East Oakland. I'm familiar with the area because my sister owns Homie Fruitvale, which is a co-working space for inclusivity for people of color so they feel safe in their own neighborhoods. This is the reason why gentrification is such a huge deal. And when Ink Coffee said what they said about gentrifying since whatever, this is the reason why it was so egregious. You have to remember that people have been in these communities for generations, doing what they do on a daily basis, the same way that every other person does what they do on a daily basis in their community. The difference is when your property value starts to go up and people who can afford to live in that neighborhood more than you can start to push you out, then all of a sudden the rate of how much people are calling the cops escalates. What is that called? That's called using police officers and weaponizing. You're saying to people who have been there for generations that you feel uncomfortable with them there, and now the police are called on very simple things. So when someone sees a police officer, one person can look at them and be like, oh my goodness, I feel so safe. The other person is looking at them and saying, well, are they here because I'm here? Right. And that's the reason why these conversations are so important. Yep. It's not about demonizing police. It's about the idea of having outreach in the communities so that we have conversations about this, so we don't get stupid things like gentrifying since whatever, especially since y'all just got there.
And Erica, do you mind, because this is such an important topic, just defining gentrification to some of our viewers?
Well, I mean, gentrification, and to be quite honest, I live in a gentrified neighborhood because that's the nature of what's been happening in these large cities.
What does that mean?
It means that you have situations where people have lived there for generations, and now this, because it's closer to the city and the property value increases, they can no longer afford to keep their homes. So then other people move in, and generally it's not a diversification of the neighborhood. It turns into a whitewashing of neighborhoods. So people who were used to living in the suburbs or maybe into in areas that weren't as diverse are taken aback by the idea of diversity in neighborhoods because they're not used to seeing it. But the issue is the other people have been there since day one.
And no
everyone else just got there.
No one's talking about the symptom that we're seeing right now happening in Tempe. And I think, hopefully the more people can talk, the more they can bridge the gap between local police officers and their communities. Well, DBL's Live will bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Coming up, do you land on a list of most annoying airplane passengers? Uh-oh, flight attendants revealed the top things people do that get on their nerves. Plus, a 15-year-old's magical run at Wimbledon comes to an end, but why she's going to be the one to watch for years to come. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. A mother gets arrested for leaving her 4-year-old child in the car while she went to a job fair. Some people say she deserves a break. What do you think? We share your comments next.
Keep it down there.
Hey there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news. I can't wait to get to that airline story. Annoying flyers. Oh man, my mom was a flight attendant for 33 years, so I definitely am very careful of what I do on an airplane, and I actually checked that list out earlier. I don't do any of those things, and I hope you guys don't either, but we'll let you know if you do. Maybe you can fix them. Let's go to the desk and see what's going on. I think they want to continue talking about this. Hey guys, do you want to continue having a conversation about this?
So young that by the time they've already been on a world competitive stage for so long.
I guess
that
I'll keep chatting. You guys want to keep talking about this?
Serena kind of
Yeah.
for you to then possibly be
Let's see if we have any comments.
We had some comments. So I was just asking Erica what gentrification means because we had a few comments saying people don't use that word very often, and so they were just wondering what it meant. So Erica was just explaining what that means, and for the local communities too.
And in Tempe too, just really quickly to give our viewers an idea that there's already so much upset there because in January, a 14-year-old boy was killed by a police officer. Plus you have the history of racial profiling there and police brutality. So Tempe is a very delicate, almost microcosm of what's going on in the country, to the point where Starbucks tried to do community outreach before this happened, and it happened. But go ahead, Erica.
So it's not, someone just wrote in saying, is what she said gentry, it's gentrification.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, gentrification. So I'm from Chicago, the west side of Chicago originally. I went back to that area, and unbeknownst to me, because it was dark out, driving from my brother's home, I was like, oh, I used to live, and then I realized I was in the middle of the street that I used to live in, and I was taken aback because we had just passed a Starbucks, and there were white people out at night. And to be really honest, when I lived there, there were no white people in the neighborhood. And in fact, if you were a white person that went into the neighborhood, you would often get stopped thinking that you were trying to get drugs. So now it's like this thing where because you have property value that's closer to a major city, then the increased rent and property value goes up, and people can't afford to keep their homes.
And there's, like you said, welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth Host, when we talk about what you're talking about. A single mom in Florida is being charged with child neglect for leaving her 4-year-old alone in a car to attend a job fair. She allegedly left her daughter in the car for more than an hour with air conditioning, a cell phone, and instructions to call the police if something bad happened. The woman's bail was initially set for $5,000, but it was cut in half because her lawyer argued that she was struggling financially as a part-time college student and that she also made attempts to care for her daughter while she was away. So DBL Nation, does this mom deserve a break? Let's get right to your comments.
All right, this is a good one, Sam. Deb from Facebook says she should have taken her baby with her. Deb, I'm sure she thought about this. Look, there are just some people that have no options, and it's hard for people that have people to leave it with, people that can pay for sitters. They're like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Trust me, if this woman's at a job fair, she understands and is able to process things. She was clearly at her wit's end, and she was at her last straw, which is leaving your 4-year-old in a car. It's the scariest thing that you could ever do as a parent, so you have to understand she's probably in a dire situation.
Angel from Facebook says, no breaks. It's against the law. Stop leaving kids and animals in cars, period. Angel, I totally understand what you feel, and trust me, I was enraged when I first heard this story. However, I think about the fact that a lot of these situations are very cyclical. This is likely something that she has done as a 4-year-old and was left for her as well, or her parents may have left her. But I'm also thinking about the fact that, yes, she could have taken her daughter into the job fair. The thought process was likely that that would hurt her get a job, knowing that she's a single mom and would have to bring her daughter to a job fair. And that's the reality of the situation.
Never even thought about that.
So I'm not saying what she did is right, but I do think that this is another example of why it's important that we support single mothers and single parents.
Jamie from Facebook says they'll bash this mother instead of making affordable daycare or providing on-site children's services at these fairs. I completely agree. You know what? I think big corporate companies, when you're having a job fair, I definitely think there should be services to leave your child. I mean, you're not going to be there all day. It's going to be an hour and a half tops. And, you know, there's a lot of big corporations that actually provide this service as part of like the role when you actually work somewhere. There is a very affordable daycare. And I think in America, you guys just don't get enough support as families.
And I'm sure people would volunteer if you
not.
made it available.
Yep.
I'm sure people would volunteer for this.
Agreed. Snicky from Facebook says, why didn't she seek help to look after the child while she attended the job fair? I will never get how a mother can leave a child unattended anywhere, especially in a car. That's a scary mom. Well, I'm sure she exhausted her list of people to watch over her child. That said, I do know that child was very distraught when they finally did get to the child. So listen, I have empathy for this mother. I think if anything, this should be a call to action for our country to step up, support working mothers, especially single parents out there, and have more mandated family care. We have no family care in this country like Canada and other countries, and that is absolutely sickening to me. So it's almost like the system's like, it sets you up to fail,
right,
especially for a single parent out there.
Because how many people would be like, yeah, get off your couch and go get a job? Welfare queen. That's exactly what people do. And now she's trying to get a job.
Yeah.
We need two shows, Sam.
I know. We do want to get in this news. Stevie Wonder left fans stunned with an update on his health. Kelly Schubert has the news at the moment.
Sam, Stevie Wonder says he will have a kidney transplant in the fall. He made the announcement to fans this weekend at a concert. The 69-year-old music icon says he'll do 3 more shows before taking a break to focus on his health. Now, Stevie says the surgery is scheduled for September. He told fans he wanted to let them know what was going on before any rumors started. Now, he says he has a donor match and reassures fans that he will be okay.
Thank you, Kelly. Well, that is a great sign. The fact that he's a donor match is the hardest part.
Living legend,
yep.
national treasure. Hopefully he'll bring some light to the situation.
I think so. I do. Coming up on DBL, calling out critics, the message defending Disney's decision to cast a black actress as Ariel in the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, plus overcoming the unthinkable, the very special person who helped a teen get through losing both parents to cancer. Aw, that's next in Heart Threads.
Hi everyone, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital Team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news, and I actually have a breaking news story that I do want to update you on. You may have heard about it over the weekend. A lot of people are being warned to stay out of beaches along the entire Mississippi Gulf Coast, and that's because of a toxic bacteria. It's actually heading eastward, and it's spreading fast, so it's a really dangerous situation. The Mississippi Department of the Environmental Quality, they did start closing some beaches on June 22nd, but just closed the last of them this past Sunday. So near the Alabama line, this is actually where we go to the beach. A lot of people for 4th of July, I'm sure, were there. So sad situation, but the issue is it's a polluted Midwest floodwaters that have led to this outbreak. It's known as the blue-green algae, and it can cause rashes, and you can get sick from it. Just not a good situation. It's obviously coming from the Mississippi River, pouring into the Gulf of Mexico. So really sad situation as it's vacation time for a lot of families. A lot of people save up for a long time to be able to go to the beach, and you can't really get your money back because the beaches are closed, I don't think, at least. But sad situation here. Let us know if you live in this area, if you had any problems with this weekend or this past week. Anyways, guys, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Welcome back to DBL. Now today's Heart Threads is all about resilience. Watch how a teen pushed through school after the death of both his parents. This teen overcame the loss of his parents to graduate high school. Kostov Chakrabarty was 14 when his father died of brain cancer. Just 2 years later, breast cancer took his mother.
When you've lost everything and now you actually don't have anything, you know, it's honestly pretty hard to talk about.
After staying with friends, Kostov's aunt and uncle took him in. He thought about dropping out of school, but he stuck with it. Then he got help from a mentor, Deanna Simmons, through Stand Up for Kids.
My mother died when I was 19. I was in nursing school when she died of cancer. My classmates didn't know how to talk to me about, and I'm sure he experienced the same thing. They don't know what to say.
Kostov and Deanna formed a bond over their common adversity. Deanna gave Kostov emotional support through his junior and senior years. Now Kostov is graduated and headed to college with plans for a medical school, and he's grateful for the help from an unlikely friend.
She gave meaning behind my life, and I just want her to know that I will be successful, and she's the reason behind it.
You will be successful. Coming up on DBL, a teen goes viral for licking ice cream at a store and putting it back. Ew, that's just disgusting. The copycat offender who was caught doing the same thing.
Who am I? Megan Rapinoe. What a great match that was. What's going on, DBL? Happy Monday. It's your DBL break, your digital break with Brandon. And we're going to get back to the fifth host comments because a lot of you all have been writing in, which we greatly appreciate. Cheryl Snyder on Facebook says, that's a no-no. I had to take my son everywhere with me. No help. That's when you got to plan ahead. Come with books, toys, Happy Meal, whatever it takes. I would never have been able to focus worrying about my child in the car alone. Great comment, absolutely great comment. And those of you who are single parents, not only just a single mother, single parent with no help, with no real family and friends or no type of assistance, could you please write in and could you please comment on this because we would love to hear from you all. Thanks, Cheryl, for writing in. Nancy Smither says that there is never any reason to leave your child in a locked car with the AC running. Too many things can happen when the car is running. Yeah, as someone who grew up, parts of my life with a single mother, she had support with my father. She had support with families. There were times where she still had to leave us at home alone, and while she ran out and did things. So I'm like half and half on this, y'all. But thank you. Keep writing in. Please keep writing in. Let's see. Nicole Delaney says it's much easier to have your child in regular daycare than a random day once in a blue moon. I think I would love for you all to make sure you're reading up on this because this person is saying that she had absolutely no help, no one that she could reach out to watch this kid, this individual. But I kind of do agree to come in with, bring the kid to the job fair. Terry Muscle says she couldn't pay for a babysitter. She doesn't have a job. That's why she was at a job fair. A lot of people are writing in they're not condoning what she did, but they're also not condemning either. She's saying, she needed money she needed a job to get money to pay for childcare. So it's some of these fifth hosts, it's just hard for me to put a line in the sand and be like, this is how I feel. But I'm glad you all write in. Last but not least, Brooke Gertler says, my dad was a single father and raised me in California. Whenever he went looking for a new job, he would find a way to get a babysitter. So yes, this mom needs to get in trouble. DBL Nation has spoke. Thank you for writing in. We got more DBL coming up.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we got, Erica?
Well, Brooke Denise Gertler on Facebook in St. Louis says, my dad was a single father and raised me in California. Whenever he went looking for a new job, he would find a way to get a babysitter. So yes, this mom needs to get into trouble. Sherry John 33 on Facebook says, I understand why, but you have to make that sacrifice for your child. Apply online for jobs. You might think it's a better chance at getting the job on the spot, but there is still another way. Children first.
Yeah, that child was distraught by the time that they met with the child. So God forbid the car was on, somebody could have taken the car, if the car ran out of gas and there's no air conditioning, and that child could have died if it was a hot car. So there's many layers to this story. Yeah. All right. If you're leaving us right now, you can still watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Here's what's coming up next.
A 15-year-old prodigy takes the tennis world by storm. Her shocking rise at Wimbledon and what ended her impressive run. Then, pesky passengers. Flight attendants reveal the most annoying things people do on airplanes. Are you a guilty offender? Plus, the must-see shows of the summer. We'll break down a list of everything you should be watching on TV in July when DBL returns.
I am Patty Donnelly, and I am the Senior Supervising Producer at Daily Blast Live. I manage the show and the staff, and I oversee creative, help pick the stories, and I also help by just using my past experience to better produce pieces and content on the show. A typical day at DBL for me starts at 6:30 in the morning, and that is super early. So it generally starts with me hitting snooze 4 times, and then going to Starbucks, and then rolling in at 6:30 on the dot. Whew, it's hard. And in the morning, when we come in, is my first meeting of the day. It's at 6:30, and it's the creative content meeting, and it's with just 4 other producers, and then Chris Clark, the executive producer of the show, and myself. And basically, we hear what stories are going on, what has been happening overnight, what the news is, and we start planning the show and what we're gonna put in it and what stories we care about. It's actually my favorite time of the day. It's really fun, and it's my favorite thing ever, which kind of sucks that it's like in the morning, because after that, then there's nothing to look forward to, but I love that meeting. Since it's such a small group, we laugh a lot and tell a lot of jokes, and just come up with some really great ideas because of it, and it's really awesome. What I like best about working at DBL as opposed to other shows is that we have a really cool culture here, and it is a lot different from when I worked in LA, meaning we put the show above, we care about the show, we want the show to do well, but we don't put it above ourselves. And that's something that a lot of times in LA, you sacrifice a lot to make sure the show is awesome. And here we, I think, almost have our priorities in balance a little more.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like that?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. We are live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. So let's get started. Tennis star Coco Gauff is out at Wimbledon at 15. She is the youngest player ever at the tournament, but this morning she lost a hard-fought match to Simona Halep. Take a look.
Game, set, match, Halep.
And Coco blew everyone away, beating Venus Williams in the first round. Now, Serena Williams is commenting on her play, saying she operates, quote, on a different level and is ready and capable. Of course, celebrities are praising the 15-year-old, too. Check out Coco's reaction.
He said, Coco Gauff, you're the one. Oh. First of all, Snoop Dogg posted me. Okay, let me stop. Miss Tina knows. The Miss Tina. Oh, Beyonce's mother, the one who birthed 2 queens.
I love it because this is an extraordinary athlete, but you see in that video, she's still 15 and fangirling.
I just hope she stays that way. I don't want to be Bum or Al, but it's just so much pressure. I mean, Sam, we talked a little bit during the commercial about, there are people, gymnasts, volleyball players, swimmers that do come up at a young age, but they're not A-list celebrities. This young lady is going to be John Legend's going to sing a song to her on YouTube, and that's a lot. I know 15-year-old Al couldn't handle it. It looks like she can, but it's just so much
I agree
pressure
with you,
society.
but
I'm wishing the best, obviously.
Of course, but I will say, as a phenomenal athlete as she has been a celebrity already within her community, whether it be at a local level, to a state level, to a national level, now on a world level. I do think that's a nice little buildup. I'm not saying you could ever prepare anybody, but considering that she's been working as a tennis star since she was 4 years old, I think that she's had a lot of preparation. So I hope that she will be just fine.
Well, and there's a template for this. People come down so hard on, especially Serena, but both the Williams sisters, and there's been a very historical context for this. There is now this transparency that lets you know that you don't have to be what makes everybody else comfortable. You can be an authentic person. You can be transparent. And having those women, especially the ones that she talked about, coming forward to support her, that's why it's so important that she receives that support in such a public manner. Yeah. Because now she knows that she's not on her own trying to fight against the world.
Amen. We wish her all the best. We really do.
Reminds me of my tennis days when I was 15. Got world famous. Took a step back, join you guys. I'm glad.
Yep, I'm glad that you
made all
did
the
that.
difference.
Glad that you made that
You're
sacrifice,
welcome.
Al. I appreciate that. Right now, Disney is shaming critics of their casting for The Little Mermaid live-action remake. Singer Hailey Bailey is set to play Ariel. Some people online weren't happy with a black woman in the role. There's even a petition going around called Not My Ariel. Now, Freeform, a channel owned by Disney, is responding saying, quote, the original author of The Little Mermaid was Danish. Let's say that Ariel too is Danish. Danish mermaids can be black because Danish people can be black. The character of Ariel is a work of fiction. Amen. And we've seen rebranding of fictional characters, as beloved as like Batman is, Aquaman is. We've seen them be rebranded. Ariel can be rebranded too.
Right.
Of course.
It's all about a creative decision. I really appreciate that quote because my goddaughter is a black Danish girl. So
Really?
yeah, it's totally possible. Yes, completely possible. She looks like a little doll. But you know, it's interesting because one, the Not My Ariel is obviously a play on Not My President. So it's a backlash thinking that this is a way to blackwash a character that should be white. This is a creative decision. There's a lot of creative decisions made, especially when it comes to animated, not real people. Let's talk about the historical context of people from all different deserts who are lily white that we have just gone around saying, oh, this is the historical context for it. Y'all really need to try harder.
I think, you know, what people need to remember is like Disney is one of the most powerful and thoughtful companies in the world. They wouldn't leave any stone unturned. And I think regardless of what Ariel shouldn't, whatever look like, they're going to pick the actress that fits the role the best, that can portray her in the way that they want the best, and that can sing also. There's so many boxes to tick, and she's amazing. Like, what's people's problem?
I know, I'm so excited. I'm a huge Little Mermaid fan, and I'm excited about this.
It's gonna be great.
Huge Little Mermaid fan. Yes, still out.
That's hey.
You said that with some tude.
There was a little stank in there.
There was stank in there.
Look, Sam, it's time to look. It's time for us to all move on. Let's start watching documentaries.
I watch documentaries too, but I can
Are they
still
about
get
Little Mermaid?
I can still get lost in some Little Mermaid here and there,
You could
Al.
also watch a documentary.
I do watch documentaries. You want me to name some for you?
Let me hear it.
I'm trying to rack my brain on the ones that I most recently
Why
watched.
would you bring that up if you didn't have a documentary on deck?
14.
14? You just threw a number out.
Okay, now you're shaming me, and that's mean. Because
Okay.
you know that I always bring documentaries.
You
Okay,
brought up
what the hell?
documentaries.
I'm sorry, I watched so many documentaries that I
That you
wanted to
couldn't
rack
name
my
one?
I wanted to rack my brain on the ones that were the most meaningful to me. So what
You
the
should
health
just
is
pull
very
the first one you get.
Okay, well, what the health is very meaningful to
Very
me.
good.
Also, Forks Over Knives is very meaningful to me. So I just wanted to make sure that I
Anything food related.
Well, no, it's actually about animal cruelty.
Okay.
Okay. I think
Now you made me feel.
Okay, good. We just went off on a
Sorry,
tangent.
Brandon.
That's the way it works. We got Brandon waiting for us. Another Disney classic is hitting the big screen, and this one is defending China. Brandon London has the details coming in hot.
That's right. Sorry, Al. This one's not a documentary. It's actually a live action, and the live action trailer from Mulan just dropped, and it's bringing honor to all of us. Take a look.
These are the qualities we see in Mulan. It is my duty to fight.
Ooh, where's the mic drop after that? Now, the movie hits theaters in March of next year. Sorry, Al, they're not making a documentary for this one. But back to you guys.
Is this okay for us to watch out? Can we watch this
That
Disney
looked
movie?
really cool.
Okay.
That looked very cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
See? That
Good.
looked cool.
Okay, good.
All right. Attack me.
Oh.
I'm down with Mulan.
Okay.
I'm gonna name my next kid Mulan.
That's a good name.
Just to spite you.
Sarah Jessica Parker is opening up about what went down on the set of Sex and the City. The actress says after the Me Too movement started, it took her months to recognize her countless experiences of men behaving poorly and inappropriately. Listen to what else she had to say on NPR.
I think that I didn't feel entirely in a position, no matter what my role was on the set. I didn't feel as powerful as the man who was behaving inappropriately, which just strikes me as just stunning to say out loud, because there were plenty of occasions where it was happening and I was in a different position and I was as powerful. I mean, I had every right to say this is inappropriate.
And I don't think a lot of women are shocked by this.
No.
It feels very normal to me.
What I've been calling it, especially since we've gotten so into Me Too and Time's Up, is the survivor's guilt. There are women who have gotten to a Sarah Jessica Parker in their own industry and lives and have realized that it's become so normalized that they're so busy trying to continue to survive and move forward that they're not even thinking about a lawsuit or whistling and calling someone out. But then you realize that now this is, and probably always has been, a part of our responsibility.
Yeah.
Because how many other victims were there
that she could have prevented
because we didn't say anything?
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother layer of guilt that no one deserves to have to bear. But I think a lot of women are struggling with this right now.
Yeah, I think that's well said.
I mean, I feel like we talk about this all the time, but well done, Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't know.
Yeah, are you not? Are you?
No, I just think, no, it's not. It's not. I just feel as though like we have this scenario over and over and over again, and even with the Me Too movement, it's just really, really sad to hear. It always surprises me, just like, it shouldn't surprise me, like how many women come forward, and it takes so long for them to do that, obviously because of dealing with the situation and all the factors around them. But it's just so heartbreaking. This happens. This is the start of a major TV show. Like she is Sex and the City,
yeah.
And like for her to feel that way, being surrounded by such powerful 3 other women that like dominated, well, my life, my mum's life. Like I love this movie, them so much, and like it's just sad. It's just. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm glad you explained yourself, because you're not being dismissive of it. It's just so frustrating that you can't believe that you've lived through this and somebody that you've idolized, somebody that you wanted to be, still dealt
at
with
the
this
pinnacle,
nonsense.
right?
So
it's
frustrating. And I understand like why you're so exasperated. I completely understand that.
Yeah, well said. Right now, the search is on for an ice cream licker. Yes, this is a real story. Police in Texas say they're looking for this woman who licked some ice cream in a Walmart and then put it back in the freezer. Before we show you the video, we want to be clear that you should not try this at home, okay?
Lick it. Oh, you foul. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Oh, you.
But that's not all. There's a copycat too. Watch. That 36-year-old Louisiana man was arrested over the weekend. Wow. I kind of give a pass to the younger girl, just because she seems young and it was a dare. I'm not saying it's okay.
She's a grown woman.
Okay, if she's over 18, I agree with you. If she's 15, I'm still not saying it's okay by any means. But the 36-year-old man?
I don't see any difference between this. I know Erica. Just try and move on. I don't see anything different between this and the gender reveals where there's an explosion and starts a wildfire. People are addicted to getting likes. They will do whatever they have to do, whatever shocking behavior. But it's supposed to be stuff because we're talking about it. And I feel like everybody is so desperate to be noticed, they'll commit a crime.
I just saw it in the prompter. I didn't know.
Ariana Grande one?
Ariana Grande got caught doing this. This wasn't.
There's Ariana Grande doing it.
She licked a donut.
So rude.
It's so disgusting.
Rude. Just licking the donuts, thinking that she can do that.
Like, it's just not okay.
I know. It is so entitled and rude, and it's
it's super illegal. Tampering with food and I mean, what if that was Tylenol?
Yeah.
And somebody put their finger in that, or some Pepto-Bismol.
You're right.
It's a real. It's a government. It's a federal crime to do that. So
I know.
Watch out.
Oof. Coming up on DBL, the shows you should be watching. We have a list of the must-see TV you just can't miss this month. Plus, there are airplane passengers who might annoy you. But have you ever thought that you could be the annoying one too?
Never.
Oh, flight attendants reveal what drives them crazy. Coming up next.
Keep it.
I just wanted to comment because I feel like Al kind of read my mind there and knew more what I was saying. It's not that I'm slating or saying bad anything about Sarah Jessica Parker. It's just so disappointing to me. Just like we constantly hear these stories, and especially for me, the thing that's really sad about that particular scenario, which I didn't express very well, is that for me, Sarah Jessica Parker was very much a role model for me growing up. That's kind of why I went into fashion. The whole storyline was her like going to work at Vogue and exploring this amazing journalism career within the fashion industry, and I fell in love with her, and that's why I went on to go and pursue that with further education, because I loved her character so much. But the thing that makes me feel sad is she was surrounded by 3 other very successful, very powerful, and very intelligent women. And this was obviously a huge, long career. This went on over decades and of so much filming. And still, for them to feel in that way, in such an amazing lead character that portrays so much like confidence and feminism and amazing qualities, to have to deal with that. It's just, I wasn't being negative about her and coming out about it. It's just so depressing to me to hear it all the time.
But I also think, to your point, and I know it's surprising, but no matter at what level you're at, you still, as a woman, feel, especially then more than now, I mean, now with the Me Too movement, I mean, we're still facing it, but at least it's more out in the open. But yeah, as Erica said, you're just surviving, right? How many times did she probably get dismissed from male executives or her male co-stars? And so for her, she just kept putting one foot in front of the other and one foot in front of the other, and probably kind of like laughing off some of those negative situations and comments, when in reality she could have been in a position to change things. But you can't blame her either, because it's not her fault.
No.
Welcome back to DBL. We've all traveled by plane and maybe taken flight attendants for granted, but now they are speaking out. Business Insider gathered up the most annoying things passengers do, according to them. First up, flight attendants can't stand when you keep your headphones on while they are taking your drink order. They end up constantly repeating themselves. That is so rude. I hate when I see people like, huh, what? Take out your earphones.
That's disrespectful.
It
Very dismissive and treating them like, just the hell. They're a human
Excuse
being.
me?
Stop for a second.
I think that's the same as when you go get a cup of coffee too, or like a Starbucks. If you're like someone's trying to help you
and you're like on your phone,
just take the moment to also respect them and their time and the fact that they're doing you a favor.
Yep.
I think there's another layer. It's called airplane ear, and I often get it. So I think I'm talking louder than I am, and really I'm kind of mumbling to myself, and I don't want to scream because then you wake the babies.
Yeah, we don't want those babies woke, Erica. Trust. Well, it seems like passengers are so eager to get rid of their trash, flight attendants feel like they are practically throwing it at them. Oh, see, I guess I'm guilty of this, because when the flight attendant comes, I have no problem just sticking my trash in here. I thought that was their way of maintaining the cabin, so when we do finally land, they don't have to do as much.
I thought that was what it was.
So when they come there, I'm like, oh, here you go, but should I just keep it stuffed?
There's a dismissive way. My first job, I was a busboy at a hotel chain, and there's a way to like say that you're done with your food, and there's a way to kind of just like not look and just pass your trash. It's a very dismissive way. So if you go, kind of in here, just let them know, like, I acknowledge you as a human being.
Yes.
Life will be fine.
And as a busser, I remember that feeling.
That's right.
Ooh, do you remember that feeling as a busser?
Fellow busser, shout out. We know the code.
Wait, I've got to ask, what's a buzzer?
Okay, so a busser is like, how do you say it in England? I guess it's not the waitress.
Somebody that gets
They're putting out all the silverware, they're wiping down the tables.
You guys have loads of jobs that we don't have. Basically, a waitress does everything.
Right.
We don't have a separate person that takes the plates and a separate person that lays the cutlery. Like, you do it all.
Okay, yeah.
We like to diversify the United States.
Yep. Okay. It's one thing to take your seatbelt off while the seatbelt light is on, but it's another to have your 4-year-old bouncing around while it's on and flight attendants say you're putting your kids in danger. So you have 3 kids, Al. What do you? It's so difficult to travel with children.
I don't want to get
off
the subject, but this happened this morning. I flew in from Cleveland this morning. Shout out Cleveland, Ohio. And we landed early, so there was a plane at our gate. So they said, stay in your seat because we're going to go next. And this guy got out of his seat to go to the bathroom, and our gate opened up and we couldn't move because he was in the bathroom, and another plane took our place, and we had to wait like another 15 minutes.
That's so annoying.
everybody was going to kill this
That's
man.
annoying.
I could, yes.
That's
so
annoying. Oh,
that
yeah.
was a rough one.
That was rude.
That happened this morning.
Yep. Passengers play musical chairs with their seat assignments, not realizing there might be an upgrade charge. Erica?
Why are you looking at me?
No. Have you ever been in that position?
No, I have not. But when we were flying out on Saturday, it was a big to-do. Shout out to Matt, who apparently lives somewhere in the Denver area, for taking our dog. He had to take the dog because someone neglected to know that we had a change in planes and we couldn't have the dog with us. So it was like a big thing.
Were you
so for
scared?
me, it's not about moving around.
Yeah.
It's about, maybe looking at your passengers like they're not complete idiots because your company messed up.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
All right.
Yep. And finally, try using your call button instead of poking or touching the flight attendant.
Who pokes and what?
Can you
I
imagine?
have never poked an.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
There's
To be
something
fair,
to
I do actually know people that would do that.
Yes.
I'm not even gonna
I bet you
lie.
would.
Especially people that have had 4 Bloody Marys. I can see people doing that.
So rude.
Don't touch people.
Yeah, we forget that these flight attendants are trained for emergencies. They're
Right.
not trained to wait on you. That's just like the last bit of responsibility of theirs, if you even want to call it a responsibility. That's not.
Well, they kind of make a note of it too. They say they're here for your safety.
Yes.
So they're like, they're not your waitress.
Well, I don't think people remember that out.
You know what's worse when people are.
Nope.
I hate
Now, do you hate this worse than this? See, this is mine.
I do not like this.
Over this?
This?
I don't know. That's
Erica,
rough.
I don't
I'm gonna ask our viewers that
Yeah,
one. This,
viewers.
this is my. Oh.
Yep. Viewers, do you hate this more or this more? Let us know. It just makes you upset, doesn't it?
Jeray is over there. Look, he's got a stomach ache. It looks like it hurt him so bad.
Yep. Coming up on DBL, we've got a must-watch TV list for the summer. The hottest shows you shouldn't miss coming up next.
Hey Beauty Blast, it's Jeray for the Slay, and today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite red light beauty tips. Now, these aren't tips you should be doing at the red light. These are tips that we should be doing when we only have a little bit of time, but we really want a beautiful look. Now, you can do this for every day too. I know I sure do, but I love these for when I'm in a quick fix as well. So my first one I want to share with you guys today is going to be eyeshadow sticks. These are a makeup artist's dream. Now, the reason why we have eyeshadow sticks is for quick fixes for eye makeup. Who doesn't want a really cute eye look and not have to spend 1,000 hours, 1,000 minutes, whatever it is? You just don't want to spend that much time, right? I know I don't. So for that reason, we bring out eyeshadow sticks. Now you can get eyeshadow sticks for as cheap as NYX Cosmetics, which isn't that cheap. It's actually a really great line, but it's very affordable. These guys range from between $6 to $8, and then you can even spend a little bit more for an eyeshadow stick like from NARS Cosmetics, and these guys are gonna have a primer built in, so there's no extra work. With these guys, it's pretty simple. You take off the lid, you roll it on up, and you smudge it on your eye. For a quick fix, just press out with your finger and you're good to go. Now, if you're really got maybe a little extra 30 seconds or so, take your bronzer and brush it straight through your crease. This will give you an instant daytime look that's gonna be sure to make everyone stare and say, oh, hey girl, what's that? All right, guys, that's all for today. Until next time, keep slaying, queens. Have a good one.
Welcome back to DBL. Some of summer's hottest TV shows are premiering this month, and it's all about familiar faces and new places. Our very own Tori Shulman has the shows that you should see this July.
Court is dismissed. For Suits, that is. The legal drama returns for its 9th and final season with Katherine Heigl back at the helm. Don't get your hopes up for a Meghan Markle cameo. Old favorites are rumored to make guest appearances, just not the Duchess of Sussex. Or so we think. There's only one way to find out for sure. The final season begins July 17th on USA. Kristen Bell is back as the snaky sleuth Veronica Mars, more than a decade after the show's last episode. The revival takes fans back to Neptune, California, but follows a new storyline featuring newcomers like J.K. Simmons and Patton Oswalt. That doesn't mean Veronica is off the hook. Showrunners say Veronica will face her past once and for all.
You know what they say about small packages?
That you've got one?
What?
You have till July 26th to rewatch old episodes before the reboot premiere on Hulu.
They're guilty of something.
So what are you waiting for? Get to watching.
Are you guys ready to learn about who we're helping tonight?
A very special shout out to Queer Eye returning for a 4th season, featuring our friends Karamo Brown and Bobby Burke.
I've never had a conversation with a gay person before. Oh. We'll see how it goes.
The Feel Good Makeover Show will follow the Fab Five in Kansas City for another season as they help change the lives of 8 new heroes.
Jeez, honey.
Make sure you're stocked up on tissues before Queer Eye returns to Netflix July 19th.
Try not to cry. Try not to lose it.
Thanks, Tori. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
ladies and gentlemen, DBL Nation, what's going on right now? We're going back and forth about the documentaries. Al put Sam on the spot, so they're just naming documentaries right now. This is what happens on Mondays. This is what we do. So let's get to your viewer comments for throughout the entire show for all the topics we had. Someone wrote in, where are we at? Zoe Rose, or Zoe Rose, if you want to be fancy with it. Zoe Rose says Ariana did the exact same thing, but no one arrested her for licking a donut. Seems a bit racist. We're talking about the new challenge, or some viral teen challenge that people are going around opening up ice cream containers and licking the ice cream and putting it back in there. I'm sorry. I'd catch a charge if I saw someone do that. I'm sorry. That's just absolute disrespect to people. Just think about who knows what that person's been doing. Who knows where that tongue has been. You're gonna lick it, and then someone gets home unknowingly, who just scoops it into their ice cream.
It makes the store look
thing.
bad too. Like
Absolutely.
that's not fair to the store. Like those people have worked hard to run a grocery store, and now you're making them look bad. Like, ugh.
And we're talking about, let's say if something happens and someone wants to sue Blue Ribbon or sue the company, Blue Bell. What's Blue Ribbon?
I don't know. That's not right.
Sound cool though. Let's get to the next one. Michael Loveland says the only time to call an attendant or wait person with that urgency is to ask, where's the bathroom? Look, I want to apologize to the flight attendants of Norwegian Air going from London to Gatwick, London to Denver. I was a little bit to deal with. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I mean, what do you mean, what?
What do you mean you were a little bit to deal with?
All those empty seats over there. If I'm like, hey, because you know in the middle row, in the middle row how it could be like one person and 3 empty seats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, if this isn't a full flight, would you mind if I move over to one of those seats?
Yeah.
And they gave me a little attitude,
just
so
done
I
it.
gave them the attitude back. But I wanted to be polite and ask.
Yeah, but that's not the way to do it.
It's not coming out of your pockets if I switch seats to an empty seat that probably paid the same thing I paid for my seat.
No, you're probably right.
You know what I'm saying?
My mom was a flight attendant for 33 years, so you just have to know how to work the system. In that case, you wouldn't ask anyone, you would just go. And they wouldn't say anything
I
to
know,
you.
but
I
then
see
what
what you're
about when
saying.
they come up and they're like, sir, is this your seat?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
And you'd say, no,
And
I
I'm
just
like,
moved over
no,
here
I
because
just
it was
moved.
empty, and that's all you would
And
say.
then they'd be like, well, go back to your seat.
No,
But then I'd be like,
that'd be
I'd be like,
crazy.
well, why do I gotta go
That
back
would
to
be
the seat?
crazy if they did that.
Almost pulled a Cam Newton. Sir, $1,500 to get up out of that seat.
I thought you were going to say you like had one too many drinks or something, and I was going to be like, please don't ever do that.
It was the end of the vacation. I didn't want to touch alcohol. I was
Good.
just ready to get back to you guys, DBL Nation. Oh, Tori's here. Run away.
Welcome back to DBL. Alaska is dealing with a record heat wave right now, and everyone is doing what they can to stay cool, even the wildlife. Check out this video of a moose just chilling in a sprinkler. The owner of Big Swig Tours in Anchorage captured the moment and says the animal was sprinkler hopping from yard to yard before finally settling down for a good old soak. High temperatures will continue to take a run at 90 degrees. Normal temps this time of year in Anchorage are in the mid-60s.
Wow.
So you know that moose was like, I need to find me a nice little sprinkler system.
Yes, and no one's asking
awesome.
what's moved. They're huge.
I would be petty. I would be petty. I would be taking
I was
it
so
carrots
happy.
out,
I
and I'd
know,
be
me
like
too.
making bezzers with that. Look at him.
You also had a pet squirrel, so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Was it amazing?
It was really great. I
It was not
highly
amazing.
recommend.
That is
They're not
wonderful.
well-trained animals.
He was called
We'll see you tomorrow,
Nutkin.
same time, same
Squirrels
place.
are not that
Cute.
Nutkin.
I love that. I love squirrels.
I'm Kelly Schubert here with the DBL digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending stories. Happy Monday. We are back here at DBL. I wanted to see how your 4th of July was. Please write us in and let us know. Did you have a great weekend? Did you spend it with family, friends? Please let us know. Let's go to the desk and ask how theirs was. Hey guys.
Oh, I've met her.
Hey Al, how was your 4th of July?
My 4th of July was so interesting.
I hung out with her
I was
Vegas
in
for a night.
Arizona with my
like a
buddy
small
Frank
group of people.
Caliendo for the
And she was
4th.
nice, very nice.
We were shooting
Which
promos
her mom was also
and
there.
doing podcasts, and it's so weird. He didn't do anything really for the 4th, and I was talking to his wife. I was like, "Why don't you do the 4th?" And he's like, "It was his wife's like, it's 107 today. People in Arizona do not fire up the grill.
We're not going
So
outside to hang
you never
out.
think about how, and also because of
she was dating, so that had a lot to do
drought,
Yeah.
like, you can't fire off fireworks
No,
because
no
that's an
fireworks.
instant fire
Fireworks
hazard.
ban. Yeah,
So it's
fireworks are legal
interesting-
here in Denver as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting how different holidays are celebrated. But
Yep.
they said they fire up the grill during the wintertime.
Wow, that's
Where were
great.
you?
And I was at Frank's in Arizona for the
Oh,
4th,
fun.
and I was like, "Are you guys doing anything for the 4th?" Because they kind of weren't, the family's like, wasn't getting ready to do anything, and they were like, we don't grill because it was 107 that day.
That makes
So
sense.
You're not gonna go fire up
But
the.
that's
How we think of it, right?
Yeah.
When you think of
Yeah.
the 4th of July, you're
You just automatically think of that.
barbecuing, or you're at the beach.
They're
or
inside with
pool.
air conditioning.
I mean,
But if you're at a pool,
Yeah, that's true.
did you have a pool?
He is seven.
Several?
He's the
Well,
one.
we'll find out what everyone else did for 4th of July later. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Also,
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, July 8th. We are live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. I'm here with Tori, Brandon, Al, and I'm Sam. Jeff has the day off. Let's get started. The U.S. women's soccer team is flying high after their historic win in the Women's World Cup final yesterday. They dominated the Netherlands 2-0 to take home the World Cup. The team was celebrating after their victory in the locker room, singing "We Are the Champions," drinking champagne, and even twerking like champs. There it is. Yep. But now the team has a new battle ahead of them, their legal fight for equal pay. And soccer fans seem to support them, erupting into chants demanding equal pay following their win. 28 members of the team have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation alleging gender discrimination. In response, the U.S. Soccer Federation says that any alleged pay differential is due to differences in revenue generated by the teams. Here's what team captain Megan Rapinoe says about that.
I think everyone is ready for this conversation to move to the next step. I think we're done with the are we worth it, should we have equal pay. Every player at this World Cup put on the most incredible show that you could ever ask for. We can't do anything more.
They really can't do anything more. And according to every single sports site that I went on today, from MSN Sports to ESPN, they all say the same thing. These ladies generate more revenue and garner higher TV ratings than the men's team. So why still the pay disparity?
I don't know. I guess it's just this old...
And Brandon, you should let everybody know you are a soccer aficionado.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You're like a diehard.
Because but this is the thing, though. A lot of people are saying that, oh, it's not men's soccer. It's not as sexy as men's soccer. But when you look at it, we're not talking on the global scale. We're talking about here in America. Can anyone name anyone on our men's team?
No.
Absolutely not. And that's no knock to our men's team, but there's one star on there. We have multiple stars as women on our U.S. national team.
Their jerseys sell out.
Jersey sales. The 2015 Women's World Cup, which they won. This is back-to-back, like Drake's song says. It was the most viewed soccer match in U.S. history, men's and women's. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That came from Jay-Z.
Wow, you're really rapping. I don't know if I have anything more to say after that.
That was brilliant.
Well said.
Very well.
And you're right. I know 2 stars, Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. One thing I'll say is if you're looking at the numbers and it looks confusing to you as why they aren't making as much, look at the bonuses. So if men win, they make, I think, $1.1 million per person.
If they win the
World Cup, right? Which they haven't. Or not yet. When women win, they make $200,000.
Which they've done 4 times.
Huge.
That's big disparity.
Huge difference.
Yeah. All right, so I think it's time to fix it. Get on it. We've got more amazing female sporting news coming up with an update about tennis star Coco Gauff. At 15, she is the youngest player ever to play at Wimbledon, and she's even catching the eye of one of tennis's biggest stars. We'll talk about her later in the show, so you do not want to miss that. Well, it is the running of the bulls in Spain right now, but the annual event where people run in front of a group of cattle turned violent when 2 Americans were injured. And one of those men, a 46-year-old from San Francisco, is in grave condition after he was gored in the neck by one of the bulls. He's reportedly fighting for his life right now. The 9-day festival is a centuries-old tradition, which brings in 1 million tourists to the Spanish city of Pamplona each year. But the recent injuries have many asking, is it time to get rid of this tradition? We want to hear from you. Go to dblvote.com, weigh in. What do you think, Tori?
I have a hard time telling people tradition is not right because in Judaism, tradition is everything, right? And we've had century-old traditions. However, I do think some are antiquated and outdated, and this is one of them. I'm clearly against it. I think if you put yourself in harm's way, that is social Darwinism, man. You deserve, but if you're going to get gored, you're running in a freeway right now of bulls, so I have no sympathy.
Tori, as a comic, you know, it's a famous Chris Rock punchline, that tiger didn't go crazy, that tiger went tiger.
Yeah.
And when you put yourself in front of a bull, the bull's going to do what it's designed to do. I mean, look, I think this is a tradition that was invented before fun. Yep. And now people have other ways. They have other ways to get adrenaline out, to get excitement in their life. If you have to do this to find excitement, go volunteer somewhere.
Yeah, and I also think it's horrific. I don't think people know how horrifically cruel it is.
It's
Before the bulls
bad.
run, they do things to entice the bulls. They electrocute the bulls. They give the bulls tranquilizers so the bulls will slip and injure themselves. And then, of course, after the bull run is the infamous bullfight, where before the matador comes in, you actually have a lot of those runners get to take turns beating, stabbing, and torturing the bull. That is just not, that is not an indication or a representation of where we are as a society today. We are much more empathetic. We know these are sentient beings.
Look how scary that must be for a bull.
But Sam, doesn't that make you feel a little bit better that the bull got its revenge? That the bulls are getting their revenge. I don't want anyone to die. There's only been 15
not when they're on tranquilizer and being electrocuted. So I don't even know if they're aware of what's happening.
These people are walking into that situation. They're drinking all week long. It's a festival. It started to honor a saint, Saint Ferdinand.
Yeah, Ferdinand.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin the pronunciation, but you're drunk. You're running out there. You're a non-athlete.
We got to do
you're
better.
Going up against the world's best athlete, which are bulls.
Yeah, we got to do better.
Yeah.
Very
Our
barbaric.
audience isn't so sure.
Our audience, 52%, says it is time to get rid of the running of the bulls. All right. This next story, a lot of you are talking about it. Starbucks is coming under fire right now over an incident at a Tempe, Arizona store. The popular coffee chain has issued an apology after a group of 6 police officers were asked to leave a store on the 4th of July by a barista. Why? This was apparently because a customer said the officers made them feel unsafe. The Tempe Officers Association tweeted about the incident with this dump dump Starbucks logo, saying they, quote, don't appreciate Starbucks asking our cops to leave your establishment on the 4th of July. Several of those cops are veterans. Starbucks apologized, saying, quote, when those officers entered the store and a customer raised concern over their presence, they should have been welcomed and treated with dignity and the utmost respect by our partners. Just to provide some additional context, there is a lot of upset and unrest in Tempe, Arizona, considering their history with police brutality, their history with racial profiling. I'm not condoning this by any means, shape, or form, but I think it's a symptom of the distrust between civilians and police officers there.
Yeah, I mean, if you went into the doctor's office and you had a mole, you said, this looks funny, and they just took the mole off, wouldn't you be like, don't we need a biopsy to make sure there's nothing? Yep. I think we don't want to just look at the symptom. There is a cause for why this happened. Starbucks didn't just randomly, anybody wearing a uniform, so if you're dressed like a firefighter or a cowboy, you get kicked out. There's a reason that people feel uncomfortable when they see the police. So instead of saying, we love our police, which we do, we need to understand this. We need to ask the question, why do people feel like this, Brandon?
Yeah, and I mean, it throws, I'm a little unrested with this one because it's like, half of me is, if something happens, who am I going to call? Not Ghostbusters. I'm calling the police. But at the same time, I'm upset because people, they want to dump Starbucks because they asked them to leave. But they don't want to dump Starbucks because they called the police on black men sitting there doing nothing, waiting for a meeting. So I'm just a little upset with you know, the half and half and uncertainty that people want to, you know, feel their rage. But I think of use it as a tool.
Use it as a tool to talk and figure out how to enforce community policing, right?
Yeah, and so Joe Arpaio is part of Arizona, and it is a very mistrusted police department within the community, and I know that. Now, here's the deal, though. They are trying, again, they have coffee with a cop. They're trying to sit down.
Yep. Starbucks did it before this.
That's right, and they're going to continue now opening the discussion, but clearly there's an issue here. But there's no black or white here. You don't kick out a cop for doing their job in a Starbucks. That's discrimination.
You don't call the cops on a black man for sitting there.
I completely agree with you, and you know I do.
Yeah,
but at the same time, two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
This is a place of business. Starbucks should have known better, and they have a real issue with kicking people out.
Yeah.
So the cops used to get free coffee at a lot of places.
I think it's unfair that this falls on Starbucks. This is between the community and the police officers.
Yes.
And we're using Starbucks. Like, dumping our coffee isn't going to get us anywhere. Like having an uncomfortable conversation, which is what I think we do very well here, is what's the important thing. So
very well said.
Let's not focus on the coffee.
Very well said. Chime in, DBL Nation. We would love to hear from you, especially
also shout out Dunkin' Donuts.
You were in that Arizona area.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Chris, I said it.
Hot chocolate.
Big Chris looked at me.
Their hot chocolate is Dunkin' Donuts hot chocolate.
Brandon, you are 6'5". What do you? Hot chocolate. What are you, 7?
David, our stage manager, just got up to reel us in.
Too much Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep, look at him with his arms crossed. I think we're going to get a photo of that because we are live.
Yes.
And we like to show you all of the chaos that exists here on this show.
Show those muscles.
Yep.
It's his birthday today, Sam.
Yeah, I know it is. There's balloons on his chair.
Okay, sorry. Very excited.
Happy birthday, David. A New York couple is suing over a fertility clinic mix-up. The lawsuit alleges that the couple, who is Asian, gave birth to 2 baby boys who were not theirs. They weren't even of Asian descent. They say the 2 babies were a genetic match to 2 other couples. The Asian couple was forced to give up their babies to their genetic parents. Now they're suing for medical malpractice and negligence. I just heard you say, oh no, Alan, it gets worse than this, because this couple went from failed IVF treatment to failed IVF treatment, finally thought they got that miracle phone call that the mother was pregnant with the embryos, only to find out after she bonded with the child, after she gave birth to the children, that they were indeed not her children, and she had to give them up. Can you imagine the trauma?
I mean, I have friends, and I mean, I'm sure we all have friends that have gone through the IVF process. First of all, it will bankrupt you. I don't care how well you're doing. It'll run through your money. And also, just like you said, the bonding is the most important thing. Obviously, this is human error. This is very sad. But I mean, I just can't imagine what those parents are going through.
I would bankrupt that company. I know that's terrible to say.
But what would that do?
That's the one job
you have. What about the other couples that would benefit from that company?
What if this happened again? This is completely.
But you would agree that this is an anomaly, though. This doesn't happen regularly, I would assume.
An anomaly. It can't happen once, and I don't trust that place. It can't happen 99% of the time you get your baby.
Present, you're going to have a mistake.
I'm sorry. You have to have 100% on getting your own embryo for me to feel comfortable going to you.
But where else do you go that it's 100%?
I guess when I look at fertility clinics I get from other people. If they've made this big a mistake, I would absolutely avoid that place. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to damage your Yelp review, but I'm just saying, human beings do tend to mess up a little bit.
I think it's bigger than a mess up to me.
It's a huge mess up. You almost used the wrong word.
DBL's live. We'll bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Coming up, do you land on a list of most annoying airplane passengers? Flight attendants reveal the top things people do that get on their nerves. Plus, a 15-year-old's magical run at Wimbledon comes to an end, but why she's going to be the one to watch for years to come. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. A mother gets arrested for leaving her 4-year-old child in the car while she went to a job fair. Some people say she deserves a break. What do you think? We're going to share your comments next.
Keep it down.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital Team. It is Monday. You know how I know? Spilled on my shirt. It's fine. That's life. We're live around here. Let's go to the desk and see what's going on. Hey guys, what's happening up here? What's up? What's up? Hey.
Oh, you mean no one wrote in? No one said anything.
Oh no. Are you upset that no one noticed?
No, I'm happy.
Tell them what's going on, Tor.
Okay.
What's the story, Tori?
I took out my extensions because they were getting badly infected, and there was a haircut that happened, and I thought during the break, if you didn't notice, I didn't Instagram very much. I thought I looked a bit like a page boy that announces the king. Ahoy, hoy, the king, the king. And so I got extensions put in that were clip-ons, and they were good, but I looked really fake. And so even my husband was like, oh. And so I took them out. We have only one in, and
you look great.
I'm really getting used to it.
In the words of LL Cool J,
You were very into that.
I like a girl with extensions in her hair, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. There you go. You're a round-the-way girl. You're a round-the-way girl right now.
Okay, I like it. So I have one.
That's how you get on, Brandon.
Look at him quizzing everybody today. You missed his quiz on me.
Fendi bag and some attitude. Bad attitude.
What do you quiz Sam?
Oh yeah, what documentaries? Because so sorry, I admitted I liked Little Mermaid. So then he goes.
So I love Little Mermaid. I love Little Mermaid.
It's Hans Christian Andersen.
It's Hans Christian Andersen. Oh my gosh.
Watching cartoons.
XOXO said, no, I don't watch it on the reg, but yeah, if my daughter wants to get into a Disney movie, that's gonna be the first one I show her.
Isn't it neat?
Wouldn't you say my collection's complete? Wouldn't you say I'm the girl who has every...
Welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. A single mom in Florida is being charged with child neglect for leaving her 4-year-old alone in a car to attend a job fair. She allegedly left her daughter in the car for more than an hour with air conditioning, a cell phone, and instructions to call the police if something bad happened. The woman's bail was initially set for $5,000, but it was cut in half because her lawyer argued that she was struggling financially as a part-time college student and that she also made attempts to care for her daughter while she was away. So DBL Nation, does this mom deserve a break? Let's get right to your comments.
All right, Sam. Nancy from Facebook says there's never a reason to leave a child locked in a car with the AC running. Too many things can happen when the car is running. Nancy, I agree with you. I just, as a parent, I wonder what was going through this woman's head to make this decision to leave her child. What I'm thinking is this woman desperately needed a job to take care of that child, and this was an avenue that she chose. She thought was the best. Looking back on her hindsight, was it a great idea? No, but I kind of understand where the idea came from.
Nice. Margot from YouTube says, I actually applaud this single mom despite her poor judgment. She's trying hard to get out of her current situation so that she can afford childcare. Yeah, Margot, I got to be honest, because I always am. I judged her very strongly in the beginning because the cop said the child was visibly upset and that a man or woman could have taken off with that car because it was on. And then I had a talk with Brandon backstage, and how about some empathy, Tori, basically?
Yeah.
And how about she's trying really hard and maybe exhausted all attempts? So in my point of view, let's have a child corner at these job fairs so they can maybe have some child care, but more empathy is needed. So I appreciate your talk.
Absolutely. I appreciate our talks too, Tori.
Good.
Cheryl from Facebook says, that's a no-no. I had to take my son everywhere with me with no help. She should have done the same. Look, my mom, I just look at this, if this was a success for this woman, like a pursuit of happiness type thing, and she got the job, this is a story she was going to be able to tell this little kid for a long time. Your mom had to sacrifice to get you to where you had to be. It was a bad use of judgment, but at the same time, I'm not a single parent, so.
Yeah, fair enough. Gemini from Facebook says, I would have taken my child with me, but let her play for an hour beforehand. I'd also have her eat a packed lunch while I talk to prospective employers so she would be quiet and sit still. Listen, I definitely think this woman exhausted all of her resources, and I don't think anybody should be throwing the book at her, but you can't leave a child in a car. You just can't.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be a big, hard, big line there so nobody else thinks that they can quickly run into the grocery store or run in to get a coffee or run in even to a job fair. I applaud the single mother trying to do it all, but you just can't. Too many bad things can happen.
I believe the saying is good effort, poor execution.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this last one in here. Brandy from YouTube says she should have asked if there was someone to watch her child. Was there a high school student in the neighborhood that could babysit? It's not okay to leave your child in the car. Brandy, really quickly, I agree with you. I think also we can also kind of look at these job fairs and realize most adults coming out for a job fair might have some people that they want to take care of. So maybe have a volunteer community thing. Child care.
Yeah.
I think there's be a lot of people that will be lining up to volunteer for a couple hours. So
Fantastic idea.
let's put our heads together and figure this out.
There you go. Thanks for writing in, everybody. We love hearing what you have to say. Stevie Wonder left fans stunned with an update on his health. So let's get to Raquel Villanueva. She has the news at the moment. Raquel.
That's right, Sam. Stevie Wonder says he will have a kidney transplant in the fall. He made the announcement to fans this weekend at a concert. The 69-year-old music icon says he'll do 3 more shows before taking a break to focus on his health. Stevie says the surgery is scheduled for September. He told fans he wanted to let them know what was going on before any rumors started. He says he has a donor match and reassures fans that he will be okay.
Happy that he got a donor.
Saves lives.
I know.
You just talk about someone who's had to overcome stuff throughout their entire life, this guy, and I think that he's, I'm hoping, praying that
I do too.
he comes out on
and
top
I believe he will.
Yeah.
I believe he will. Coming up on DBL, calling out critics. The message defending Disney's decision to cast a black actress as Ariel in the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Plus, overcoming the unthinkable, the very special person who helped a teen get through losing both parents to cancer. Wow, that's next in Heart Threads.
I am Patty Donnelly, and I am the Senior Supervising Producer at Daily Blast Live. I manage the show and the staff, and I oversee creative and help pick the stories. And I also help by just using my past experience to better produce pieces and content on the show. A typical day at DBL for me starts at 6:30 in the morning, and that is super early. So it generally starts with me hitting snooze 4 times and then going to Starbucks and then rolling in at 6:30 on the dot. Whew, it's hard. And in the morning when we come in is my first meeting of the day. It's at 6:30 and it's the creative content meeting, and it's with just 4 other producers and then Chris Clark, the executive producer of the show, and myself. And basically we hear what stories are going on, what has been happening overnight, what the news is, and we start planning the show and what we're gonna put in it and what stories we care about. It's actually my favorite time of the day. It's really fun, and it's my favorite thing ever, which kind of sucks that it's like in the morning, because after that, then there's nothing to look forward to, but I love that meeting. Since it's such a small group, we laugh a lot and tell a lot of jokes, and just come up with some really great ideas because of it, and it's really awesome. What I like best about working at DBL as opposed to other shows is that we have a really cool culture here, and it is a lot different from when I worked in LA, meaning.
Welcome back to DBL. Now today's Heart Threads is all about resilience. Watch how a teen pushed through school after the death of both his parents. This teen overcame the loss of his parents to graduate high school. Kostov Chakrabarty was 14 when his father died of brain cancer. Just 2 years later, breast cancer took his mother.
When you've lost everything and now you actually don't have anything, you know, it's honestly pretty hard to talk about.
After staying with friends, Kostov's aunt and uncle took him in. He thought about dropping out of school, but he stuck with it. Then he got help from a mentor, Deanna Simmons, through Stand Up for Kids.
My mother died when I was 19. I was in nursing school when she died of cancer. My classmates didn't know how to talk to me about, and I'm sure he experienced the same thing. They don't know what to say.
Kostov and Deanna formed a bond over their common adversity. Deanna gave Kostov emotional support through his junior and senior years. Now Kostov is graduated and headed to college with plans for a medical school, and he's grateful for the help from an unlikely friend.
She gave meaning behind my life, and I just want her to know that I will be successful, and she's the reason behind it.
You will be successful. Coming up on DBL, a teen goes viral for licking ice cream at a store and putting it back. Ew, that's just disgusting. The copycat offender who was caught doing the same thing.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by.
Hi, DBL Nation. It's Raquel here. I have a breaking news story on the Kevin Spacey case. Now, I've been following this for almost a year now. Kevin Spacey is accused of sexually assaulting a teen in a Nantucket bar back in 2016. Well, there is a new development in the case today. Apparently, his accuser pled the fifth during questioning, which caused the judge to throw out any previous testimony. So now Kevin Spacey wants the whole case thrown out and dismissed. Now, this case had been facing some trouble before because the text messages that allegedly kind of described the incident as it was happening that the accuser allegedly sent to his girlfriend, well, they can't find the original phone in which that text message was sent. So that was kind of the first problems they faced. Now he's pleading the fifth, so we'll see where this case develops, and I'll keep you posted. Talk to you later.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we got, T-Bone?
All right, so we got a pun contest going on right now in the YouTube comments.
Oh.
It's about Ariel, so people are writing in. It'll go swimmingly. I'm not going to carp about it. I hope she's working for scale.
Ooh.
That's a good one. Someone else said, sorry, I didn't mistake it for Halliburton. People will say we're floundering around if we keep this up, so I'm all up.
And people shouldn't be crabby about it.
Oh!
Ew. There's a crab in it.
I feel you.
There's a crab in it. He's never seen The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, you can't talk if
You
you haven't
can't
seen
talk
it.
about
It'd
it.
be weird if I had.
No,
Yeah,
you have kids.
kind of.
What?
No.
Yes.
I'm not sitting through that. I'll turn it on and walk out of the room like a real parent.
I actually think you would love it. I actually think you would love it.
What part of it? Damn.
Under the sea.
See, that's right there. I'm out.
The seaweed is
Done.
greener.
Down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
Here's what's coming up next.
A 15-year-old prodigy takes the tennis world by storm. Her shocking rise at Wimbledon and what ended her impressive run. Then, pesky passengers. Flight attendants reveal the most annoying things people do on airplanes. Are you a guilty offender? Plus, the must-see shows of the summer. We'll break down a list of everything you should be watching on TV in July when DBL returns.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news. It's quite loud in here right now. We're having a very lively Monday. I think some people were feeling a little weird coming off the break, coming off the weekend, but we're all happy to be back. So here we are. I've actually got a story that's really sad that's trending for you right now, but it is important. So I did want to let you know about it. Cameron Boyce. He's a 20-year-old Disney star. He died over the weekend. TMZ is reporting that he died of a seizure from suffering from epilepsy, and he has been suffering from epilepsy for a long time, it sounds like. And it's just a very sad situation because you see this actor, 20 years old, starring in things like Grown Ups and Descendants, big movies. Adam Sandler was commenting about him. Salma Hayek was commenting about him, saying how good of a child he was, how good of a kid he was. Again, just 20 years old, and he died in his sleep of a seizure on Saturday. So again, just a really sad situation. A lot of people have been talking about this today, and we did want to honor him on today's show. So rest in peace, Cameron Boyce. We're praying for him and his family. It's just a sad situation. Anyway, DBL Nation, I did want you to know we're covering that today. Write us in if you have any thoughts. All right, bye-bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. We are live. Are you comfortable, Al?
I am.
Lean over, man. Sit up.
I do have a let me get you in this car lane. Okay.
Okay. We're talking about what you're talking about right now. Let's get started. Tennis star Coco Gauff is out at Wimbledon. At 15, she is the youngest player ever at the tournament. But this morning, she lost a hard-fought match to Simona Halep. Take a look.
Game, set, match, Halep.
Corey says the one thing that stuck out during her first time at Wimbledon was the crowd. Listen.
Definitely the crowd. They been amazing. Like even this match, even though I wasn't feeling my best and I wasn't playing my best, but they were still supporting me no matter what.
Well, in the first round, Coco blew everyone away, beating Venus Williams. Now, Serena Williams is commenting on her play, saying Coco operates, quote, on a different level and is ready and capable. Of course, celebrities are praising the 15-year-old, too. Check out her reaction.
Coco, you're the one. Oh, first of all, Snoop Dogg posted me. Okay, let me stop. Miss Tina knows. The Miss Tina. Oh, Beyonce's mother. The one who birthed 2 queens.
I love it. She's an extraordinary athlete, but she clearly is still 15.
She is, right? I was going to say, at 15, and I think Serena and a lot of commenters like Chris Everett were saying she's very poised for someone at 15 who could get their emotions really riled up. I want to show this moment for you. This is her walking over to Serena at the net, okay? And if you guys didn't know, she reaches over, shakes her hand. She whispers something. You see that? You know what she said?
That's Venus, by the way.
I'm sorry, Venus, excuse me. She said, I wouldn't have been here had it not been for you.
Really?
And
That's
to
awesome.
say that on that court gives me chills.
That is
she's
unbelievable.
Right. She's right. Those Williams sisters
Did she finish
paved
it
the
up?
road.
Now take that hot one. Get out of here.
But look, and I may be the gloomy Gus here, but
the what?
The gloomy Gus.
Okay, I've never heard that term.
Now
Well, that's
she
because
has-
usually people are in a rocking chair when they say it. Wow, Brandon. Go.
Come on, let's
All
get
right.
serious here, because I got a life lesson for this girl
Okay.
right
Okay.
now. Now, you're feeling high. You're riding this high, but now you have a target on your back. Let's talk about Naomi Osaka. Remember how she beat
Yeah.
Serena?
Man,
She
that's
won
a
the
good point.
U.S. Open. She won the Australian Open. She had the #1
lot
world
of pressure.
ranking. Where's she at? The best ability is sustainability. So
Yeah.
enjoy this moment, but be ready to be consistent with your performances, because Snoop Dogg's not going to tweet you. Tina Knowles is not going to tweet you
Well said.
anymore if you're not winning
Gloomy
anymore.
Gus was kind of beautifully
Yeah,
said.
that was
Now, Brandon, you were a professional athlete. Do you think you could have handled this at 15 years old?
At 15, absolutely not. I mean, when I made varsity at 15, I was going crazy.
Right.
So
Yeah, but someone at her, listen, you are a high caliber athlete, but someone at her caliber, at like 4 years old, she was already dominating.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
I
true.
think she's been a local celebrity, then she was a state level celebrity, then a national celebrity, now a world celebrity. So I actually think this has been a nice build up for her. Not to say that there's not going to be a lot of pressure for her. I think what you said should not fall on deaf ears.
That's right.
I always mess those up. Okay.
Gloomy Gus.
Right now, Disney is shaming critics of their casting for The Little Mermaid live-action remake. Singer Halle Bailey is set to play Ariel. Some people online weren't happy with a black woman in the role. There's even a petition going around called Not My Ariel. Now, Freeform, a channel owned by Disney, is responding saying, quote, the original author of The Little Mermaid was Danish. Let's say that Ariel, too, is Danish. Danish mermaids can be black, because Danish people can be black. The character of Ariel is a work of fiction. Amen.
See, these are the first people that say hashtag not my Ariel, but they want to go listen to some DMX or something, or some Nas or something. They tried to play the same mess with Lil Nas X with Old Town Road, but where were you when Elizabeth Taylor played Cleopatra?
Yep.
Where were you where Johnny Depp played Tonto, who
Yes.
is Native American? Where were you where the whole cast of Gods of Egypt were white?
Right.
So how come, like, what is with all this hot and coldness when it comes to this? Don't play our music anymore if you don't like it.
I agree, and those are actually some of those real characters. This is a mermaid, a fictional mermaid, okay? I have a real issue with people taking heart to this and not caring that kids are locked up in horrible ways in places that we should talk about on the border. So if you're worried about this, you got too much to worry about.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
And how about you Google this young actress, because she's incredible. She's not only incredible as a singer, she's incredible as an actress. So maybe you should watch her perform, and then I think that would shut you right up.
Maybe you should just take a little self-inventory if this is what you're worried about. I mean, was it in your high school yearbook most likely to worry about a mermaid? Like, this is really embarrassing for anybody to really care about. And
Hashtag not my Ariel.
I refuse to let this get into a racial thing. This is bananas.
Yeah.
You need to look at yourself in the mirror, just shut the door, turn the radio off, and just be like, is this what I saw when I walked across the stage? If it is, then go on a mermaid rant. If not, you need to really just find somebody you love and hug them.
Yeah.
This is really
Someone
weird.
hurt you.
Yes, so yes, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Well said, Al. Another Disney classic is hitting the big screen, and this one is defending China. Stephanie Jones has the details coming in hot.
The live action trailer for Mulan just dropped, and it's bringing honor to us all. Take a look.
These are the qualities we see in Mulan. It is my duty to fight
I am ready. The movie hits theaters in March of next year. Back to you guys.
That was legit goosebumps.
Incredible.
Legit goosebumps. Talk about talent. That young lady's talent.
I mean, where do we see a precedent for this? Like a female superhero that isn't white. I mean, this has no chance, right?
Right.
This is going to kill the box office.
And Scarlett Johansson is not playing the Asian woman, so I'm really happy.
What was that movie? Ghost.
Yeah, there's
Something
two
Ghost?
that were just outrageous.
Whew. Wow. Still got those goosebumps.
Sam, enough with the goosebumps.
Okay, I'm just enamored by her. I am.
There's camera equipment in here. They keep it cold.
That's not why I have goosebumps. I'm actually quite warm. Sarah Jessica Parker is opening up about what went down on the set of Sex and the City. The actress says after the Me Too movement started, it took her months to recognize her countless experiences of men behaving poorly and inappropriately. Listen to what else she has to say on NPR.
I think that I didn't feel entirely in a position, no matter what my role was on the set. I didn't feel as powerful as the man who was behaving inappropriately, which just strikes me as just stunning to say out loud, because there were plenty of occasions where it was happening and I was in a different position and I was as powerful. I mean, I had every right to say this is inappropriate.
I mean, listen, I know I've been reading the comments this morning. A lot of people are shocked, but in reality, as a woman,
Not at all.
I'm not shocked by this at all.
At all. She freaking owned that show. She was the star of that show, and she still had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Not shocked in the least.
She still had male executives that she'd encounter with, male co-stars that she encountered with, and many people will say, well, with her position, she should have stepped up and been a voice for the voiceless, so to speak. But you can't blame her. You got to blame the culture.
Right.
She was just trying to put one foot in front of the other and make sure that she was the star that she hoped to be.
And had a female-centric, strong show.
And that in its own right is providing a voice for the voiceless. So,
but at the same time, I'm not shocked at all that she had to endure this kind of behavior, because I've been around friends and I've had to check some of my friends.
Good for you.
Because, hey, you're grabbing on a woman's arm,
Have you
or
done
you
that
said
more
some things
recently because of Me Too?
No,
Less?
no.
Or less?
I think. I think I've had to keep some sort of awareness more because of Me Too. But if I hear it, I'm still going to be one of the ones that say something. And I just, like, kudos, and I'm glad that we created this Me Too movement, because this would have just been toned to deaf ears. No one wouldn't have cared. No one wouldn't. Boys will be boys. That's what they were saying this entire time. But a boy ain't gonna be a boy to my sister, because you're gonna get your neck broke. That's that sort of thing. That's where we're at now.
And you have a young daughter that we all love. We've met her. She's 12, right? Going on 20.
Yeah, right.
I mean, do you have hope seeing now post Me Too and during Me Too? Do you have hope that she will be treated differently?
I do, because I think this has opened up conversation. I know I've talked to a lot of my female friends. I remember remember about 8 years ago when that catcalling video came out, where that woman walked the streets of New York, and everybody's like, "What is this? So what?" Somebody tells you to smile and makes a video. After watching that video and hearing from all the women that are important to me in my life, my friends, my family, just hearing what women go through, what's yelled at them, what's done to them, it blew me away, because you always think like, oh, I know people say inappropriate things.
No,
but
you feel like predator and prey.
The everyday situation since they were 7 or 8, it blows your mind. So I feel like men of my generation have learned, and men of my son's generation, hopefully it won't even be a thing.
I agree. Yep. Right now, the search is on for an ice cream licker. Yeah, this is a real story, people. Police in Texas say they're looking for this woman who licked some ice cream in a Walmart and then put it back in the freezer. Now, before we show you the video, we want to be clear that you should not try this at home or any stores, or
Well, you
don't
should try it
it
at home.
Maybe at home, but not in stores.
Lick it. Oh, you foul. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Oh, you.
Wow, but that's not all. There's a copycat too. Watch. Gross. That 36-year-old Louisiana man was arrested over the weekend. Yeah, you can't do this. I almost give the younger person a pass if she's like 14, 15. She was trying to be cool. Still not okay, but an adult.
What do you take from this? I see it as a desperation for likes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a viral. Yes.
Everything is such a desperation for likes, and here's the thing, guys, that we don't want to discuss. When I read this article, I think Friday, it was at 11 million views. So how many do you think it's at now? It works.
Oh my gosh.
It's horrible.
That's
It
just
works.
so
We're talking
entitled
about
and
it.
rude.
And
but then Ariana Grande did it without trying to get likes.
And she got banged
She got caught
for it.
because of the surveillance video.
Yeah,
so she wasn't trying to get likes. She just was entitled at the moment and thought that she could do whatever the hell
I
she
did some
wanted.
research. Those are the Ariana Grande licked, those special edition donuts.
That was a terrible joke.
But she should be held to the same standard, Al.
Should, but she won't be.
Yeah.
Should she
got
get
shamed for
reshamed? She should get reshamed.
No, she already did get shamed for it, and perhaps she learned from it.
Well, the other two look like their tongue's been all over Tinder, so that's,
You don't know that.
But to be honest, if you do have any disease, and I'm not saying these people do, we're speculating, so that's a crime to pass that on. So I'm talking criminal.
No, honestly, a lot of my buddies are doctors, and the biggest deal that they have is a human bite. The human mouth is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's a big deal when a kid gets bitten.
Yeah, that's why you have hepatitis B shots.
Breaking the skin and
Yes.
allowing whatever our mouths.
You gotta have a hepatitis B shot.
It's a big deal. Yes.
Woo, I know, it's a thing. Jeez. Coming up on DBL, the shows you should be watching. We have a list of the must-see TV you just can't miss this month. Plus, there are airplane passengers who might annoy you. But have you ever thought that you could be the one annoying them too? Flight attendants reveal what drives them crazy coming up next.
Keep it.
I think they found her.
I thought they found her.
We need to go.
They were talking about
Yeah, I thought
throwing
they
a book
Kelly.
at her. 'cause
We
it's
need to see if
like
they found that female ice
they
cream
found her
licker.
'cause, like, tampering
We need
food
to
is a
update that. I
big
thought they
deal.
found her.
Yeah.
Can
And
we look at
you've
that
seen
up?
some places, some like bodegas and stuff in New York City. They're actually locking up their ice cream section, and you have to go and
Are
go to an
you
attendee and
serious?
to go to get it opened up. This is how big this thing has gotten, and it's. I mean, Ariana Grande, in a way, you should kind of get reshamed for.
Well,
because
she's
you kind of
apologized. I
started
mean,
it.
once she did it, I don't think she started it. This seems like a new thing that went.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was a
right?
long time ago.
I just think everybody's desperate to do
Someone's
whatever.
Singing Mary says, "Look, I don't see it as desperation for likes. I see it entitlement, lack of respect, narcissism."
Yeah.
I also think it's super dangerous, man. What if you have something you don't know, the herpes virus, whatever, that passed on?
Both of them, the girl and Lil Boosie's brother, both look like they had.
No, you don't know. You don't know.
They both look. I mean, I don't care. I can speculate if you can
I'm
lick
giving
something.
a 17-year-old a pass. Sorry,
I'm
not.
putting a 17-year-old juvie.
Oh, come on,
At
Brandon.
17 years old,
I
you
am not
just
condoning it. I am not condoning it, and there should be some repercussions, but
So
I'm
was
not
she
going to go
taken
put them in
in?
the system. She was trying. I think
So we gotta
he was
update
right.
that.
She was trying to get
100-something
likes.
hours. 100-something hours.
Yeah,
of
community service,
100-something
totally
hours. All right,
community
maybe not
service.
juvie, but I
I
want
just don't
you
want her to
feel
have
that.
a rap sheet already. You know what I mean?
Okay. But what if someone? What if
Get
we
sick?
find out
Totally.
someone got sick?
Oh,
Now
that-
does she do jail time?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But if not, then I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
because that's a
$100
weapon,
of
so to
community
speak, if
service.
someone got sick.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and it's like, what do you like? So when Sophie, your daughter, gets older, and she starts looking at these viral videos and stuff, what conversation can a parent
I'm not
have
going to
with
allow
a
her
kid?
to be on social media until she's like much older,
Okay.
well in high school.
I
but
wish
yeah,
I
I'm
would.
gonna have some one-on-one. Welcome back to DBL. We've all traveled by plane and maybe taken flight attendants for granted. I hope not, but now they are speaking out. Business Insider gathered up the most annoying things passengers do according to them. First up, flight attendants can't stand when you keep your headphones on while they are taking your drink order. They end up constantly repeating themselves. Yeah, that's just common sense.
I guess so, but it's super loud on the plane, and I'll just be like, "A Coca-Cola, please." You think? I'm sorry, it's super loud, and there's babies
But you
screaming.
you got to acknowledge them. They're doing their
I
job.
would never be like, Yeah, right.
Yeah, I understand. But if I say Coca-Cola, why do you have to respond back to me? Like,
what?
Coca-Cola. Hey, what would you like?
She can't have a
Coca-Cola?
conversation with you?
No, it's other people who need drinks. I'm the worst passenger.
You're terrible then.
Wait, why do you say you're the worst passenger?
Just because I get annoyed with them. I feel as though our flight attendants sometimes try and abuse power. And it's like they're working for the system. You're working for the man. You're supposed to be working for the passengers.
No, you're not. Those flight attendants are there for your safety, and only your safety. Now, yes, they do tend to serve you, but that's on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to their list of responsibilities. They are there to help you. God forbid if there's a fire, if there's some sort of takeover on the airplane, they are trained to help you in all those situations.
And I'm just telling Brandon, it's your attitude like that that's why you don't get the whole can.
Yeah.
I do get the whole can. Apple juice. I get the whole can because I drink it with respect.
You don't get the whole can.
Enjoy your sip.
You do not get the whole can.
DBL Nation, bring us in. Is he getting the whole can?
No, he ain't getting the whole can.
Pull that knife out my bag, please.
Yep. It seems like passengers are so eager to get rid of their trash. Flight attendants feel like they are practically throwing it at them.
Again, I gotta be honest, when they do the thing and I'm like, I know, I could be more open and moving to the trash. I think I'm learning I gotta be a better passenger.
Okay.
You just put it in the little thing with
No, because they have to clean that all out.
No, but you get it later when they come around.
Yeah, just make sure it's in the bag at some point.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that. Absolutely. Make sure it's in the bag.
Thank you, Sam.
One thing flight attendants can't stand is passengers using the call button for no reason. Who does that?
That's annoying.
You just push the button like you're on an elevator?
I've seen them let kids do it. Beep,
okay, kid, then you just tell your kid.
Yeah, but they didn't. I was like, don't let this woman have to keep walking back and forth.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah. No. What if you have a really good idea?
They don't want to hear it.
I need to tell the flight attendant
They don't want to hear your idea, Al.
Something innovative.
What idea are you going to give a flight attendant?
I have one.
Maybe like an extra, like a new fanny pack that looks cool or something. You call the flight attendant, spitball with her.
Do you know that stewardesses is the longest word you can type using only one hand?
Don't hit your call button for that.
Okay.
Yes, thank
Not
you.
that idea.
And Brandon, is there a button that we can push to forget what you just said?
All right, it's one thing to take your seatbelt off while the seatbelt light is on, but it's another to have your 4-year-old bouncing around while it's on and flight attendants say you're putting your kids in danger. Yeah, I mean, listen, traveling with kids is really hard. I have difficulty with my 2-year-old, but at the end of the day, it's the flight attendant's job to make sure that you're safe.
Absolutely.
And some people give them some pushback, right? But if you were to have really a turbulent flight, your kid's out of there.
Absolutely. People have gotten concussions because they hit the top of their head, and it is their job. And if they have to be powerful, it's their right to do so.
They're trying to keep you safe.
Yeah, there you go.
And finally, try using your call button instead of poking or touching the flight attendants. Who does that? Brandon, do you poke?
I don't touch. I don't touch it. I don't need much when I'm on a flight. I bring everything I need.
Yeah, so when they talk to you, what do you say?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Brandon.
Okay, good.
I'm going from London to Denver.
Oh, boy.
Hello.
Oh, boy.
Can I have some apple juice?
Just a little bit of the
whole
can. No. Coming up on DBL, we've got a must-watch TV list for the summer. The hottest shows you should not miss coming up next.
Hey Beauty Blast, it's Jeray for the Slay, and today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite red light beauty tips. Now, these aren't tips you should be doing at the red light. These are tips that we should be doing when we only have a little bit of time, but we really want a beautiful look. Now, you can do this for every day too. I know I sure do, but I love these for when I'm in a quick fix as well. So my first one I want to share with you guys today is going to be eyeshadow sticks. These are a makeup artist's dream. Now, the reason why we have eyeshadow sticks is for quick fixes for eye makeup. Who doesn't want a really cute eye look and not have to spend 1,000 hours, 1,000 minutes, whatever it is? You just don't want to spend that much time, right? I know I don't. So for that reason, we bring out eyeshadow sticks. Now you can get eyeshadow sticks for as cheap as NYX Cosmetics, which isn't that cheap. It's actually a really great line, but it's very affordable. These guys range from between $6 to $8, and then you can even spend a little bit more for an eyeshadow stick like from NARS Cosmetics, and these guys are gonna have a primer built in, so there's no extra work. With these guys, it's pretty simple. You take off the lid, you roll it on up, and you smudge it on your eye. for a quick fix, just press out with your finger and you're good to go. Now, if you're really got maybe a little extra 30 seconds or so, take your bronzer and brush it straight through your crease. This will give you an instant daytime look that's gonna be sure to make everyone stare and say, oh, hey girl, what's that? All right, guys, that's all for today. Until next time, keep slaying, queens. Have a good one.
Welcome back to DBL. Some of summer's hottest TV shows are premiering this month, and it's all about familiar faces in new places. Here are the shows you should see this July.
You're in.
Court is dismissed. For Suits, that is. The legal drama returns for its 9th and final season with Katherine Heigl back at the helm. Don't get your hopes up for a Meghan Markle cameo. Old favorites are rumored to make guest appearances, just not the Duchess of Sussex. Or so we think. There's only one way to find out for sure. The final season begins July 17th on USA. Kristen Bell is back as the snaky sleuth Veronica Mars, more than a decade after the show's last episode. The revival takes fans back to Neptune, California, but follows a new storyline featuring newcomers like J.K. Simmons and Patton Oswalt. That doesn't mean Veronica is off the hook. Showrunners say Veronica will face her past once and for all.
You know what they say about small packages?
That you've got one?
What?
You have till July 26th to rewatch old episodes before the reboot premiere on Hulu.
They're guilty of something.
So what are you waiting for? Get to watching.
Are you guys ready to learn about who we're helping tonight?
A very special shout out to Queer Eye returning for a 4th season, featuring our friends Karamo Brown and Bobby Burke.
I've never had a conversation with a gay person before. Oh. We'll see how it goes.
The feel-good makeover show will follow the Fab Five in Kansas City for another season, as they help change the lives of 8 new heroes.
Jeez, honey.
Make sure you're stocked up on tissues before Queer Eye returns to Netflix July 19th.
Try not to cry. Try not to lose it.
I'll be having those tissues ready. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Neat, 2 of us together again. Wouldn't you think it's... What is the word? What's the word? Burn. When's it my turn?
All right, that's Little Mermaid. Really Thank you guys, everybody. Thank you. Those were not the words. From St. Lucia.
Correctamundo.
And I came from Washington, D.C. We want to know how your July 4th was. Did they celebrate July 4th? Did you have any kind of celebration?
Really. They had they had a July, at the hotel I was at, they had like a July the 4th kind of barbecue, but in the Caribbean it was more like they had like some fish barbecue.
Okay,
it wasn't
different,
like,
a little bit different.
It wasn't like, I mean, I've never actually had a July the 4th. What
Right.
actually happens? Like,
So
what
it's
do you
funny because I
do?
just remembered July 4th is because we left England. That's crazy. So all you do is you barbecue, you have some fireworks, you celebrate your independence, you usually hang a flag, you celebrate your veterans, and it's all about making America leaving England.
How
Awkward. So it's really just about the Declaration of Independence from there. Now you guys have July 14th, that's Bastille Day, that's France. So you guys have no independence because you've just always been England!
Rule Britannia, rule the waves.
The Queen. Excellent job.
Long live the
Yep,
Queen.
long live the Queen. But it's interesting to see the difference that's happened since the Revolutionary War, how we've become allies and then back out, but we've always stayed close. And her coming here, look at this. Bonding. England and America, huh?
Welcome back to DBL. Alaska is dealing with a record heat wave right now, and everyone is doing what they can to stay cool, even the wildlife. Check out this video of a moose just chilling in a sprinkler. The owner of Big Swig Tours in Anchorage captured the moment and says the animal is sprinkler hopping from yard to yard before finally settling down for a good old soak. High temperatures will continue to take a run at 90 degrees. Normal temps this time of year in Anchorage are in the mid-60s. Can't blame that moose at all.
No, there's super high degree temperatures in Alaska. Europe and France, it's hitting 115, 119 degrees. But I have to give a shout out to Rob, our camera guy, who came up with the pun. That's Rocky and the Bull Sprinkle. I messed it up. Rocky and the Bull Sprinkle.
He had that beautiful pun, and you had this beautiful artwork, and you put your foot through it. It was Rob, good job.
I'm so sorry.
All right, Tori, do it again.
Let's go, Tori.
Rocky and Bull Sprinkle.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Good job, Rob.
Good job, Rob.
We'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good day, guys. Sorry, Rob.
And that was a good one. That was a really good one. Shout out to Rob. Here he is over here. Rob, wave. This is Rob, our camera guy. He is the pun, he's the pun king around here. So anytime Tori has a really good one, you can bet it might have come from Rob. I've got a story I want to tell you about. It's trending right now. It's a really lovely story. It's actually from the July 4th parade in Arlington, Texas. So it is from July 4th earlier this week, but it's such a good story that I just wanted to tell you about it just in case you haven't heard about it. An 11-year-old boy named Joshua Brown, him and his family attended the parade, the 4th of July parade in Arlington, Texas, as they do every year. And this year, when the armed guards were out, you know, the ones that are carrying all the flags, one of their shoes was untied. So one of the armed guards kind of looked at him and kind of like gave him a signal. He realized what he was saying. The little boy runs out. John's going to bring up the picture. I believe he has it up for you. He runs out and ties his shoe. This is giving me chills. I don't know why this is such a good story. It just makes me happy. It's the little things in life. It was such a simple gesture that this 11-year-old little boy realized he needed his shoe tied. So he runs out there in front of everyone and does it. That's so cool. I love that story. Joshua Brown actually got to meet the armored guard later that day, so it was just really cool. I love that story. I think it's a happy 4th of July story. Let us know what you did over the 4th of July. Did you have a good time? Were you with family and friends? Was it hot where you were? Was it cold where you were? Let us know. All right, bye DBL Nation. Great show coming up.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Happy birthday, David, who just said that. It's Monday, July 8th. We're live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. I am here with Erica, Brandon, Al. I'm Tori. Jeff has the day off. Let's get started. Guys, the U.S. women's soccer team is flying high. After their historic win in the Women's World Cup final yesterday, they dominated the Netherlands 2-0 to take home the World Cup. Now, the team was celebrating after their victory in the locker room, singing "We Are the Champions," drinking champagne, and even twerking like champs. I sound so awful when I say that. But now the team has a new battle ahead of them, their legal fight for equal pay. And soccer fans seem to support them, erupting into chants demanding equal pay. Equal pay. Following their win, 28 members of the team have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation alleging gender discrimination. Well, in response, the U.S. Soccer Federation says that any alleged pay differential is due to differences in revenue generated by the team. So here's what team captain Megan Rapinoe has to say about that.
I think everyone is ready for this conversation to move to the next step. I think we're done with the are we worth it, should we have equal pay. Every player at this World Cup put on the most incredible show that you could ever ask for. We can't do anything more.
I mean, she does the pose.
Yeah.
She's performing. She's performing at the best, better than the men's.
She put her money, and the entire team put their money where the mouth is, or put their performance where the mouth is. And everyone, I understand, soccer is not that popular of a sport here in America, but we talk about our dominance in the U.S. and how we try and dominate global economies, global other countries. Here are people working for our Patriots. These are Patriots right here trying to make our country better, trying to make our country win, continue to be on the forefront. So I don't understand why there's such a pushback when they continue to win. This is their 4th World Cup.
And again,
our men have 0.
That's right. And just so you guys know, it's over a lot of the bonuses, right? So the men get $1.1 million if they win a World Cup.
Yep.
Women, $200,000 each. So huge difference there.
Right. You know, it's interesting because we want to talk about facts and figures and X's and O's when it seems like it's complicated enough to confuse people. But this is very, very clear.
Simple.
We're talking about an audit system. How much did they generate? How much are they being paid? This is very easy to actually figure out. We really don't have to get too into the whole X's and O's of it. Right.
Yeah.
So when she says we've done everything that we need to do, she's absolutely right. They have done everything that they need to do. Now it's time for people to step up and pay them adequately.
Wow. Yeah, and just for the people that say, you know, well, they don't make as much as the men, it's like, well, some things are not in their control. They controlled what they could. That means going out on the field, on the pitch, Brandon, and going out there and dominating.
Yeah.
Now the people that push pencils need to do their job. The people that pay for billboards, the people that pay for advertising, the people that pay for digital ads on your phone. There's a reason that you know certain people. There's a reason you know certain UFC fighters. That's because somebody got in a conference room and said, we want to push this fighter. Yeah. We want to push this player. So they need to start doing that for our women because they are a shining example of what this country can be.
And they have Nike on their side now.
Yes, they do. Well, DBL Nation, write us in. We're all in agreement here. Get paid the same, exactly the same. We've got more amazing female sports news coming up with an update about tennis star Coco Gauff. At 15, yes, she's 15. She's the youngest player ever to play at Wimbledon, and she's even catching the eye of one of tennis' biggest stars. We'll talk about her later in the show. You seriously don't want to miss that. But it's the running of the bulls in Spain that we have to get to right now, the annual event where people run in front of a group of cattle. It turned violent, like it would, when 2 Americans were injured, and one of those men, a 46-year-old man from San Francisco, is in grave condition after he was gored in the neck by one of the bulls. Now, he is reportedly fighting for his life. Right now, the 9-day festival is a centuries-old tradition, which brings in 1 million tourists to the Spanish city of Pamplona each year. But the recent injuries have many asking, is it time to get rid of this tradition? I want you guys to go on your computers or your phones, go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Tradition, as a Jew, I get tradition, but should some be antiquated, outdated, and expunged? This one to me seems like it should.
I don't know. I mean, we've all heard the saying, you mess with the bulls, you get the horns.
Literally a saying.
I mean, it seems a little bit like common sense. This feels like social Darwinism, and people are trying to see if they're fit enough to survive. And if that's how you want to live your life, I'm not doing it. No one that I'm responsible for should be doing it. But if that's your thing, then that's your thing.
It's terrible to the bulls. They stab, electrocute before to get them riled up. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it started off as a religious festival. Now it's a lot of people. Now it's bringing a lot of tourist dollars. But you look at it, I think a lot of people sit back and they don't have a problem when people get trampled by these bulls, because it's like, remember that brother and the sister, I guess 2 weeks ago, when they were tight walking around the Wallendas.
Yeah.
People were sitting there, even though they had wires, people were sitting there watching because they wanted to see what? They wanted to see them fall. So this is one of those situations where you want to see someone, hey, you're slapping the bull, hey, it's all fun and games.
Isn't that disgusting,
you're going out
antiquated, and stupid?
It's disgusting, but when you sit there and you get the horns of the bull, it's not disgusting.
Yeah, I don't
it's the
feel
bull's
bad for
revenge.
those people.
Absolutely not.
I mean, do you think it's outdated, Al?
What else do we do from centuries ago?
Yeah,
I don't really look to them for anything, for my entertainment value, for anything. So, I mean, this is just something, it just shows me that these are people that are lost in life. If you feel like you need to do this to get entertainment, I promise you, there are better ways to spend your time than doing this. This is just a way for you to get Instagram likes. Look, I'm so crazy, I'm so crazy. I'm like, do something fun. Go volunteer in your community for a weekend. That'll be a lot more impactful than having some animals that have no idea what's going on chasing after you. It's embarrassing and it's old school, and I'm sorry. I feel sorry for the Bulls than I do the people.
Too. I do too, guys, and our DBL Nation agrees, but not by much. 54% say yes, it is time to get rid of.
And for Bulls fans, I feel sorry for them. They didn't do a lot in free agency this year.
Worse for Cavs fans.
Oh, boy, here we go. Cavs, all right. Starbucks is coming under fire right now. This is everywhere. It's over an incident at a Tempe, Arizona store. Now, the popular coffee chain has issued an apology after a group of 6 police officers were asked to leave a store on the 4th of July by a barista. Why? Because apparently a customer said the officers made them feel unsafe. Well, the Tempe Officers Association didn't care for that, tweeted about the incident with this Dump Starbucks logo, saying they, quote, don't appreciate Starbucks asking our cops to leave your establishment on the 4th of July. Several of those cops are veterans. Starbucks apologized, saying, quote, when those officers entered the store and a customer raised a concern over their presence, they should have been welcomed and treated with dignity and the utmost respect by our partners. Now, we came from the 50s in which cops were given free coffee into a world in which we are seeing now an effect of police brutality, especially, I'll call it out, in Arizona. We have Arpaio being head of that force, and it was not a good communication with the community at that point. Is this the right place to do it? Starbucks calling someone out. Again, it was a white person, white officer said, I don't feel comfortable.
This is an interesting conversation because on the surface, people are like, how dare you disrespect police officers, especially on the 4th of July, and they were veterans. I can understand that. I am not anti-cop, but I want to add more context to the story because I think that it's very important, especially when we get other coffee shops saying we've been gentrifying since this time or this year. The reason why this is important is because you're talking about communities where people have lived there for generations. They have lived there, they have worked there, they have raised their children there. They have their daily, like every other community. Now you have gentrification, which means that people who have more means, a lot of times people who are not people of color, move into the neighborhoods that people of color have historically lived in. Now there is an issue because there's a disparity in how we live. They're coming from one version of a way to live, and the people who are living there are saying this is how we live. Now we bring in a police officer because we're going to weaponize what the content or what the actual behavior is in this community. Anytime you are a person who has not lived in this community historically and you call the police officer on a person who has lived there for just living their life, because you do have to remember that in New York there's been this long-standing dominoes game that's been happening in parks. There's been no violence included, yet they get called the cops on them as well. So when you walk into a situation like that as a person who has lived in that community, you want to know, is that person, that police officer, there to protect and serve, or there to protect and serve the people who just got there? So when you're having that conversation, you have to remember that calling the police has been weaponized in these communities. That's the reason why the coffee shop who originally did that, which was Hasta Muerte in Fruitville in Oakland, down the street from my sister's company, Homie, which is for inclusion of people of color so that you don't have to cross code or code crossing. It's very important that you have opportunities for that. So when you have this conversation, please understand that there's more context to it than just police having or being asked to leave.
It is. It's a great job on giving more context to this. It's not just, I don't like police, they're get out. There's way more behind this. Would love to hear from the DBL Nation if you think that this is the right place to do so. But great conversation. All right, a hip hop and country star has come out of the closet. Lil Nas X, the country rapper who shot to fame with the song Old Town Road, came out as gay at the end of Pride Month. In a series of tweets, now the musician is opening up about his decision in an appearance on a British morning show where he walks in front of the camera. Take a look.
You've given hints. What do you think you've revealed?
That I am gay. I mean, it's just something that, I was considering just like never just doing it ever, just like taking to the grave or something. But it was like, I don't want to just live my entire life, especially, how I just got to where I'm at, just like not doing what I want to do. So, and I'm also, I feel like opening doors for more people who.
Well, yeah, it's important, isn't it? Because you are now a role model.
So is this a big deal? We have a black gay country star at the top of the charts. And I told my parents, and they're like, cool, it's amazing this isn't a bigger deal. Like, I'm so glad it isn't a big deal. I'm just thrilled.
Of course, yeah. Go ahead.
I think it would have been a big deal back in the 90s when we were listening to hip-hop music, where it was all about being hard, all about being tough, not showing that sort of emotion. But I think now, I mean, Jaden Smith, Tyler, the Creator, Frank Ocean, everyone's come out and been open. And to me, put your pain in your music, you know, and that's what making these people great. So it is what it is at this point.
I think it is a big deal to a segment of the population that we don't think about, especially when you're talking about young kids who are being kicked out of their homes because they've come out as gay. You have to also remember that Miley Cyrus, who he worked with her dad, is one of the pioneers, and she talks about and helps young high school students, Happy something, I gotta find that out. But she helps them after they've been kicked out of school. So I think it's really important that they're being represented by him.
And I know we always wonder that there's not enough progress in the world, but think about this. We have a gay rapping country singer that's endorsed by Wrangler. That's kind of amazing.
I think you just summed it up, my friend. You summed it up. Well, DBL's live. We'll bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Coming up, do you land on a list of most annoying airplane passengers? Brandon might. Flight attendants reveal the top things people do that get on their nerves. Plus, a 15-year-old's magical run at Wimbledon comes to an end, but why she's going to be the one to watch for years to come. And you, yes, you're the viewer, you're our fifth host. A mother gets arrested for leaving her 4-year-old child in the car while she went to a job fair. Some people say she deserves a break. What do you think? We share your comments coming up next.
Keep it.
I think when you hear buzzwords like the police, even Starbucks, people pick a side immediately. I think you should look at like what's going on. If Erica had a party Friday night, she's like, "Hey guys, I'm having everybody over for a glass of wine at 6 o'clock," and Tori walks in and she goes, and she sees me and she goes, "I don't feel comfortable coming in here. Al's in here." We wouldn't be like, "What's wrong with Erica's kitchen?" We would ask, "What's going on with the dynamic?" Where Tori doesn't, that's the conversation. It's
I agree.
not the venue.
It's not Starbucks. Agreed. This is just the I agree.
Let's have the more difficult conversation rather than dumping out a perfectly good cup of coffee.
It was crazy. It was a white person who called the cops. Now,
no, white person didn't call the cops. The white person felt uncomfortable with 6 cops,
that's what I meant.
And told the barista, "Get them out of the sight line or leave."
So if that's not the biggest thing of privilege I've ever seen in my life, to where you can tell a barista to get the cops out of there because you feel like, oh, I have anxiety because the cops are around. What about when the cops pull me over or pull Al over or pull Erica over? Or what type of anxiety do you think I have?
I hear that. I also think it's remarkable that a barista would think it's okay to kick out 6 people for doing their job. Do I think civil disobedience against police brutality is necessary? Yes. Do I think that? I don't know if that was the place to do it. I don't know if that's legal. I don't think you can kick people after that.
I just question what that person had experienced.
Exactly.
That they were so triggered
with 6 guns.
I never thought about the legality of it though.
That's illegal. No, it's discriminatory.
Could you do that to firefighters?
No, you can't kick people out for certain things unless they're doing something.
I understand. Yeah. I'm saying like legally.
Yeah. Well, in the
like
context, it's interesting. In Oakland, the sergeant came out and said that they will comply. However.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Well, a single mom in Florida is being charged with child neglect for leaving her 4-year-old alone in a car to attend a job fair. So she allegedly left her daughter in the car for more than an hour with air conditioning, a cell phone, and instructions to call the police if something bad did happen. The woman's bail was initially set for $5,000, but it was cut in half because her lawyer argued that she was struggling financially as a part-time college student and that she also made attempts months to care for her daughter while she was away. This got y'all talking, DBL Nation. Does this mom deserve a break?
All right, let's get to these comments. Brooke from Facebook says, my dad was a single father, and whenever he went looking for a new job, he would find a way to get a babysitter. Yes, this mom needs to suffer the consequences. I look at it as she had a good deed. She knew what she wanted to do, but in this case, it backfired because had things worked out and she got the job, this would have been a story she was going to be able to tell her kid one day. Your mom sacrificed this for you. Your mom sacrificed that. So when that kid's complaining about something one day, that kid can now push through. It's unfortunate. I've never been a single parent, so I can't tell a single parent how to do it.
All right. Ada from Facebook says, this is a tough one. Probation is appropriate. Why didn't she take her child with her to the job fair? Secondly, if the air conditioning was on in the car, this is extremely dangerous for several reasons. Ada, this is just a situation where there are no good options. This is clearly a person that needed a job to care for this child. I think there's an old saying, good intentions, poor execution.
Shalucci on Facebook says,
Cute.
the air conditioning was on and she left her child with a cell phone. Give this mom a break. She was doing what she thought was best. This is interesting because we were all kind of like, she did all these precautions, and then we found out how old the kid was.
Right.
Yeah,
and that changed everybody's perception.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying what this woman did was right, but I do understand that she could have easily have been in a bind. And when people say that there's always an option, sometimes there isn't always an option. And I can also understand why someone who is a single mom would be reluctant to bring her child into a job fair, letting everyone know that she's a single mom with very little to no support.
Might have trouble getting to work.
She's bringing her child to this job fair. So I don't think what she did was right, but I think it definitely opens up the question about family planning and support, as well as support for parents out there.
Absolutely. At the job fair, maybe have a child corner for people like that. Chanel from Facebook says, just the other day in an airport, some woman was trying to snatch up kids right next to their parents. We covered that story. How easy is it to take a 4-year-old left alone in a parked car? Chanel, one more thing is the car was on. So the police said that was what was worrisome. Look, at no point can I condone leaving a 4-year-old alone in a car. I can't. The car could be taken. The AC could have broken. She doesn't know how to use a cell phone. Not okay with it. Is this story covered in empathy, though, as Erica says, and should spark more teaching about childcare? Yes, I agree with that. But again, I can't condone keeping a 4-year-old in a car. Coming up on DBL, calling out critics, the message defending Disney's decision to cast a black actress as Ariel in the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Plus, overcoming the unthinkable, the very special person who helped a teen get through losing both parents to cancer. That's next in a fantastic Heart Threads.
I am Patty Donnelly, and I am the Senior Supervising Producer at Daily Blast Live. I manage the show and the staff, and I oversee creative and help pick the stories. And I also help by just using my past experience to better produce pieces and content on the show. A typical day at DBL for me starts at 6:30 in the morning, and that is super early. So it generally starts with me hitting snooze 4 times and then going to Starbucks and then rolling in at 6:30 on the dot. Whew, it's hard. And in the morning when we come in is my first meeting of the day. It's at 6:30 and it's the creative content meeting, and it's with just 4 other producers and then Chris Clark, the executive producer of the show, and myself. And basically we hear what stories are going on, what has been happening overnight, what the news is, and we start planning the show and what we're gonna put in it and what stories we care about. It's actually my favorite time of the day. It's really fun, and it's my favorite thing ever, which kind of sucks that it's like in the morning, because after that, then there's nothing to look forward to. But I love that meeting. Since it's such a small group, we laugh a lot and tell a lot of jokes, and just come up with some really great ideas because of it, and it's really awesome. What I like best about working at DBL as opposed to other shows is that we have a really cool culture here, and it is a lot different from when I worked in LA, meaning we put the show above, we care about the show, we want the show to do well, but we don't put it above ourselves. And that's something that a lot of times in LA, you sacrifice a lot to make sure the show is awesome. And here I think almost have our priorities in balance a little more. And
Welcome back to DBL. Now today's Heart Threads is all about resilience. Watch how a teen pushed through school after the death of both his parents. This teen overcame the loss of his parents to graduate high school. Kostov Chakrabarty was 14 when his father died of brain cancer. Just 2 years later, breast cancer took his mother.
When you've lost everything and now you actually don't have anything, you know, it's honestly pretty hard to talk about.
After staying with friends, Kostov's aunt and uncle took him in. He thought about dropping out of school, but he stuck with it. Then he got help from a mentor, Deanna Simmons, through Stand Up for Kids.
My mother died when I was 19. I was in nursing school when she died of cancer. My classmates didn't know how to talk to me about, and I'm sure he experienced the same thing. They don't know what to say.
Kostov and Deanna formed a bond over their common adversity. Deanna gave Kostov emotional support through his junior and senior years. Now Kostov is graduated and headed to college with plans for a medical school. And he's grateful for the help from an unlikely friend.
She gave meaning behind my life, and I just want her to know that I will be successful, and she's the reason behind it.
You will be successful. Coming up on DBL, a teen goes viral for licking ice cream at a store and putting it back. Ew, that's just disgusting. The copycat offender who was caught doing the same thing.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
I saw that Giants fan.
He's been going through depression.
Are we on? Yeah. All right. What's up, everybody? As we're getting our comments together, just want to say it's good to be back. Had a week off. Went and saw my peoples in LA. Saw the kiddos. Then went and did some podcasts with my buddy Frank Caliendo. Check us out at Alan Frank Try and Be Serious. We did a bunch of podcasts. And then I went to my hometown of Cleveland, hung out with them. So I hung out with my 94-year-old Aunt Wilhelmina. There's a name for you. Aunt Mina. And my Uncle Tom, and saw my whole family. So it was a great break. I flew a lot, but it was worth it.
Yeah, you're always going somewhere.
Well,
Al
you
is like,
go somewhere.
You
I go to Chicago this weekend. Need me to bring something back?
Portillo's?
No, DiGiordano's.
Giordano's? Thank you, but I have Giordano's in my freezer. No, it was weird. We flew in and out of O'Hare. So I got back on Saturday, and I always get Garrett's popcorn. Anytime I go to Chicago and there's Garrett's in O'Hare,
You didn't get it?
Didn't get any. No.
Why?
I don't know.
She's Denvering out?
No, it was just the weirdest thing, and I kept thinking, like, I should just bring some back. Maybe I'll change my mind.
Oh, do you know what I did for the first time? I don't know what made you think about that. Maybe you're talking about meat. I went to Fogo de Chao for the first time.
I thought you were talking about the Brazilian place.
The Brazilian steakhouse.
The one here?
It's no, the one in Beverly Hills. It was good, and then
meat
at
sweats.
3 o'clock this morning, that morning I woke up, I was like, this is not good.
Yeah, meat sweats.
Fogo de Chao.
It wakes me up out of a dead sleep. Like,
Yes,
it takes some doing.
It's so much meat.
It's a lot of meat.
It's a lot of
meat.
meat.
Sits in grease. It tastes
I only
great.
like 2 of them.
Yeah, but it was
Someone
good.
just wrote hashtag meat sweats.
Yeah, oh my god.
Oh, were you there for the earthquakes?
Straight meat sweat. No, but my
Welcome back. Ooh, look at this fancy camera work there, Adam. Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Erica, wow, look at that.
All righty, well, I'll just keep the show going. Starbucks, on Starbucks, Germs Thomas says, I worked for McDonald's for 6 years. When the cops came in during a shift change and got some breakfast, it was about the safest I had ever felt working there, ever. I completely appreciate that. When I was bartending, when police officers would come in during when we were counting out, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, common sense, of course.
Yeah, you want to feel protected.
But
yeah.
I understand both sides of it, too.
I do, too. I don't think it's the right place for it, and I don't think you can discriminate against people, but I do think they need to have a conversation with this community.
Right.
All right, guys, if you're leaving us right now, you can still watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Well, here's what's coming up on DBL.
A 15-year-old prodigy takes the tennis world by storm. Her shocking rise at Wimbledon and what ended her impressive run. Then, pesky passengers. Flight attendants reveal the most annoying things people do on airplanes. Are you a guilty offender? Plus, the must-see shows of the summer. We'll break down a list of everything you should be watching on TV in July when DBL returns.
Hey Beauty Blast, it's Jeray for the Slay, and today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite red light beauty tips. Now, these aren't tips you should be doing at the red light. These are tips that we should be doing when we only have a little bit of time, but we really want a beautiful look. Now, you can do this for every day too. I know I sure do, but I love these for when I'm in a quick fix as well. So my first one I want to share with you guys today is going to be eyeshadow sticks. These are a makeup artist's dream. Now, the reason why we have eyeshadow sticks is for quick fixes for eye makeup. Who doesn't want a really cute eye look and not have to spend a thousand hours, 1,000 minutes, whatever it is? You just don't want to spend that much time, right? I know I don't. So for that reason, we bring out eyeshadow sticks. Now you can get eyeshadow sticks for as cheap as NYX Cosmetics, which isn't that cheap. It's actually a really great line, but it's very affordable. These guys range from between $6 to $8, and then you can even spend a little bit more for an eyeshadow stick like from NARS Cosmetics, and these guys are gonna have a primer built in, so there's no extra work. With these guys, it's pretty simple. You take off the lid, you roll it on up, and you smudge it on your eye. For a quick fix, just press out with your finger and you're good to go. Now, if you're really got maybe a little extra 30 seconds or so, take your bronzer and brush it straight through your crease. This will give you an instant daytime look that's gonna be sure to make everyone stare and say, oh, hey girl, what's that? All right, guys, that's all for today. Until next time, keep slaying, queens. Have a good one.
Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. We're live and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. Let's get started. Kevin Spacey's accuser just made a stunning move in court. Raquel Villanueva has news at this moment. Raquel?
That's right, Tori. Kevin Spacey's lawyers want the sexual assault case against him dismissed after his accuser pleads the fifth and refused to testify in court today. Today's pretrial hearing focused on the location of the accuser's phone, which is still missing. Spacey's lawyers say the phone contains deleted messages sent during the alleged incident, and they would tell the whole story. Now, the Fifth Amendment asserts the accuser's right against self-incrimination, and he took it when asked if he tampered with the phone. The actor is charged with felony indecent assault for allegedly groping a man at the Nantucket bar. Spacey's lawyers say today's events have completely compromised this case and want it thrown out.
Wow.
Whoa.
But you know what? It's not shocking.
Not at all.
I'm not shocked.
Why? Do you think what I think?
Well, no, we just had, when we had the last, when he first went to court, that was like, what, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Obviously, we always want to honor what people's testimony, and especially when it's coming from the victim. I felt like there's something happening that we don't know about.
A lot of people say there's stuff behind the scenes here that we don't know, and I don't want to.
Please speculate. And just call it speculation.
So basically, a lot of people said he wanted to back out the accuser of the case entirely. Then there was some talk of a settlement outside of the court case. By taking the fifth, what you've done is not given any way to have any evidence that Kevin Spacey did anything wrong, because you can't say anything. So there's no real testimony. So to be honest, that accuser doesn't have a very strong case anymore. So I imagine this might get dismissed.
And just to be clear, this is the young man who was 18, and he was documenting what Kevin Spacey was doing to him in a bar to his girlfriend. But there are 30 other accusers.
Yeah, this isn't just the only one.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder if this will go away, but let us know what you guys think. Big, wonderful news, guys. Tennis star Coco Gauff, yes, is out at Wimbledon, but at 15, she was the youngest player ever at the tournament. This morning, though, she lost a hard-fought match to Simona Halep. Take a look.
Game, set, match, Halep.
Corey says the one thing that stuck out during her first time at Wimbledon was the crowd. Take a listen.
Definitely the crowd. They been amazing, like even this match, even though I wasn't feeling my best and I wasn't playing my best, but they were still supporting me no matter what.
So in the first round, Coco blew everyone away, beating Venus Williams. Now Serena Williams is commenting on her play, saying Coco operates, quote, on a different level and is, quote, ready and capable. Of course, celebrities are praising the 15-year-old too. Check out their reaction.
He said at Coco Gauff, you're the one. Oh. First of all, Snoop Dogg posted me. Okay, let me stop. Miss Tina knows. The Miss Tina. Oh, Beyonce's mother. The one who birthed two queens.
So clearly still a 15-year-old because she's super excited.
I would have reacted like that.
I was like, Tina Knowles. The main thing here is that the difference is at 15, her emotions seem to be in check, almost like a Roger Federer, very smooth. And I just, before we get into speaking about her, I want to play this moment. If you watch her go up to the net when she beats Venus, who was her idol and still is, she whispers, if you notice. And when asked after, she said, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
It's the passing of the torch.
Passing of the torch, yeah, and she's right.
But I want to talk to her and tell her that you had an amazing performance. You have celebrities reaching out to you. You have this newfound success. But remember, it's not over. The two women that you just talked about went from Compton to being the best in the world. Serena Williams went from growing up in Compton to throwing Meghan Markle a bridal shower or a baby shower or whatever. This game can take you anywhere, but make sure you stay focused, and you're going to be one of the great ones already.
She looks
so. It wasn't the Grand Slams that Serena won?
No, but
it wasn't Wimbledon.
No, but that's why she's throwing it, because of the game, because of how big she came. I can win a Grand Slam, and Meghan Markle's not going to hang out with me.
I love Meghan Markle, but I don't think that's Serena's biggest accomplishment. But I get you, brother. I get you.
You don't think a baby shower is a biggest?
I don't think it is. But you know, I do understand. I understand what you're saying, but I do think it's really important because people are saying how young she is, and how much she's kind of seems to have it together. But she's had this template, and these templates have grown into very transparent situations. Serena is always talked about, even to this day, and she very much holds her own. But she doesn't give you the BS. She gives you exactly who she is. So in order to have a young woman coming up like that, being like, hey, this is who you are, this is what you do, you can own your truth. You don't have to be something else in order to make everybody comfortable. And I think there's a lot of power in that, and there's also a lot of joy in that.
I mean, can a 15-year-old own their truth, though? I think we're putting so much. I can only speak for myself because I wasn't. Just watching how she reacted to those celebrity tweets, she's obviously on a different level than I was. Brandon, you played pro sports. I really worry about taking away a young person's innocence because For whatever reason, Erica, there is something in this country we like to build people up to watch them fall. We saw it with Britney Spears. We've seen it with a lot of Disney actors. I don't know what that is. I'm not wishing this. I'm not putting this in the universe. I just hope it doesn't happen because she seems like such a bright young star.
We can't give her that innocence back. She just came onto the scene and beat Venus, and she's going to have tournaments where she's going to win. So that innocence is not going back. She's just going to have to mature and continue to have great people around her, have a great temperament, and keep going for W's, because it's all about winning now.
And guess who was like her major coach growing up? Just like the Williams, her dad. Her dad.
Well done, Dad.
Love you, dads. All right, right now Disney is shaming critics of their casting for the Little Mermaid live-action remake. Singer Halle Bailey is set to play Ariel. Some people online were not happy with a black woman in the role. There's even a petition going around called Not My Ariel. Now, Freeform, a channel owned by Disney, is responding, and they're not holding back, saying, quote, the original author of The Little Mermaid was Danish. Let's say that Ariel is too. She's Danish. Well, Danish mermaids can be black because Danish people can be black. The character of Ariel is a work of fiction. So, it's a mermaid. It's fictional. Hans Christian Andersen, the Danish man who came up with this story. It's a very old tradition. I have no idea why this would bother people. And if it is bothering you, you have way too much time on your hands, in my opinion.
Well, first, I'd like to give a shout out to Amelia Rose, my little black Danish goddaughter.
Yay!
Yes, they are out there.
They are real. They're real.
Secondly, I think we can all understand where Not My Ariel comes from. It's coming from Not My President. So there are overt and covert racism and dog whistles, and some people can hear them all.
Hashtag Not My Cleopatra was for Elizabeth Taylor. Hashtag Not My Tonto was for Johnny Depp. I mean, we can go ahead and we can pick on what we want to get mad about Scarlett Johansson, but like, I'll take this one away, man, because like stuff like this, just it makes me just want to go up and like slap people sometimes.
Well, we don't need to slap people.
We're gonna stop that.
Well, you know,
I can't use my words with stuff like this.
Well, Brandon, you got it, and this goes for all our viewers as well. Certain things you have to be like, wow, if that's the hill that you're going to die on, the Little Mermaid hill, at the end of your life when your grandkids are around your bed, if you're like, your granddad did something, he defended the Little Mermaid's honor. If that's what you want to do, then God bless you. But I think what you have to do, Brandon, is just be like, hey, if this is really going to bother you, you can have this one. I mean, but you know what? This is a conversation for old folks. You know who's not going to worry about this? The 6 and the 7-year-olds that are going to be sitting around, watch this movie for years and years to come. So let them enjoy it.
And they think it's totally normal.
That's right. Again, fictional mermaid. Fictional mermaid. Another Disney classic is hitting the big screen, and this one is defending China. Stephanie Jones has the details coming in hot.
The live-action trailer for Mulan just dropped, and it's bringing honor to us all. Take a look.
These are the qualities we see in Mulan.
It is my duty to fight.
The movie hits theaters in March of next year. Back to you guys.
I am so gonna watch that.
You just hit me with a nunchuck,
I almost
girl.
hit you.
Damn,
I apologize. I apologize. It looks fantastic, though. Well, sorry again. Right now, police have ice cream liquor on the loose. Yes, this is a real story. Someone just turned around. Police in Texas say they have located this woman who licked some Bluebell ice cream in a Walmart and then put it back in the freezer. Police say they are not pressing charges as she is a minor. It's now up to the juvenile justice system. Before we show you the video, we want you to be clear. We do not condone her actions.
Wait.
Lick it. Oh, you foul. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Oh, you.
But that's not all. There's a copycat, too. Watch this. That's 36-year-old. He was a Louisiana man. He was arrested over the weekend. This reminds you about 2 years ago, I think, Ariana Grande licked some donuts, and it became a big thing because A, super gross, B, super entitled, and C, super gross and somewhat criminal because if you have any disease, you're passing that on. So how do you guys think about the ice cream liquor?
I just wonder. So those Twitter hashtag or @s are theirs or their friends? and they're doing this?
Yeah, it sort of like started as a challenge.
It's a viral
it looks,
thing.
Yeah.
Like you remember Jake, Kiki did like the viral challenge with the dances.
Yeah, but they were showing like, you know, they had moves. These people are showing themselves breaking the law.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I think it's a cry for attention. I mean, the thing is, we're not talking about 12-year-olds, Erica, that are just like, hey, I'm not getting attention in school, I'm not getting attention at home. Let me do this. These are grown folks. That one guy had it looked like Larry Holmes. He probably has kids. Like, I mean, it's really like, this is what you should get upset about, but I think it's more pervasive than just these two people. I think it's that everybody feels like they're not being acknowledged.
Yeah.
And even if it means breaking the law, embarrassing your family name.
And then
think about if you had to call Dr. Mom and tell her you were licking ice cream. I mean, like, it's so embarrassing. I can't even be mad at him. I'm like,
licked the Bluebell.
I feel sorry, yeah. You gotta get a lawyer for this.
This is so
you have to tell a legal professional that you licked Bluebell ice cream and not get escorted out of his office. That's your new job.
You in jail? What you in for, dog?
Yeah.
Rum raisin. Coming up on DBL, the shows you should be watching. We have a list of the must-see TVs shows you just can't miss this month. Plus, there are airplane passengers who might annoy you, but have you ever thought that you could be the annoying one too? Flight attendants reveal what drives them crazy next.
Keep it.
Yeah.
You should.
Loveland says, after the beautiful artwork of Mulan, I sure hope they do not CGI this to death. I'm watching for nature scenes in future trailers. Yeah, the coolest thing is not seeing it so artificial and seeing it real and seeing it.
But the fight scenes when people are jumping over
But
people,
it looks seamless.
You don't
It doesn't
do
look
that in real life.
Agree, but it doesn't. I don't want it to look so CGI. Like
Okay.
Avatar to me, I know I'm gonna get flack for this, but it was just too artificial for me.
Avatar?
Yeah, I didn't invest in it. I didn't have any humanity in it. A lot of people loved it.
But
I
they
did
were
not.
they were using like characters from Pandora.
Right.
At least in Mulan, they're using real people.
Right, which should make it more
Can I just say
live
I have
action.
an issue with Mulan, and it's not just that. But it's just in general, I don't like movies where kids are the heroes. That's why I can't get into Stranger Things. I'm like, this 7-year-old's gonna save me? Get out of here.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I don't
Wait,
like
hold
it.
on,
But if
really?
a 15-year-old can beat you in tennis,
There were samurais out there, Brandon. You telling me that girl?
that's Venus Williams. She's a samurai version
she
of a
was
tennis
flying.
player.
I can't get into it. I'm sorry, Erica.
It's kind of a fair point. There were grown samurai men that she's
Yeah.
fighting. That's a true point.
And like killing all. Come on, man.
Wait, name one. Can anyone name, including the DBL Nation, a child hero that he will like? Spider-Man's not that old.
The Fifth Element. How old was she?
Bruce Willis was in 19.
No, but like Spider-Man's in high school when he gets bit, so he's not that old.
I know he gets beat up at first. He doesn't know how to use his
Yeah.
web.
Welcome back to DBL. We've all traveled by plane and maybe taken flight attendants for granted, but now they're speaking out. Business Insider gathered up the most annoying things passengers do according to them. First up, flight attendants cannot stand when you keep your headphones on while they're taking your drink order. They end up constantly repeating themselves. I keep mine on. I do a Coca-Cola with some, just Coca-Cola, I mean.
No wonder they hate taking your order. You messed that order up.
But I mean, it's so loud and there's so much static.
Well, it's the airplane ears too.
Yeah.
Like I know I have a loud voice, so I tend not to like scream out an order.
Right.
But then I end up just talking to myself because I can't hear
Yourself.
that they can't hear me.
Right, because your ears are popping.
Exactly.
Do you do this?
No, I don't have problems ordering soda. I say it like a ginger ale, please, and they hand it to me, and then I move on with life.
Ginger ale?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm an older gentleman.
The other day.
Yeah, I'm an older gentleman. First of all, I heard this. I know we got to keep moving. I heard that the fish fillet meal at McDonald's is an old man order. That's what I get.
It is.
Is it?
That was my granddaddy's favorite order.
It is. And you had like an addiction.
Yeah, I like fish sandwiches.
Yeah, you're also 800 years old. All right, passengers play musical chairs with their seat assignments, not realizing there might be an upgrade charge. Anyone?
Nothing wrong with that, because if there's no one in those seats over there, it doesn't matter. I should be able to just walk over there and sit down. There's no one sitting there.
I'm channeling Jeff. He's like, I don't even know. They're nickel and diming us. I want to sit there. I can sit there. I kind of think he's right on this one. Ew, he came out of my head. Get out of there.
Yeah, I had an issue flying last weekend.
We need to hear this.
Well, here's my thing. I super respect flight attendants. Like, I know that they get the brunt of all the terribleness.
Great disclaimer.
But please, when your company has messed up,
I know it.
Don't get an attitude
I know
with the client, especially not on a holiday weekend when you have paid 3 times the normal cost of a ticket to go home to see your family. So when you stop my husband at the gate and say, "Excuse me, sir, you need to get back here because he had a dog that we paid for and checked in," then you have to say, "Sir, I'm sorry. There must be some misunderstanding. Your dog cannot be in this cabin. Let's figure the situation out." Not get a stank attitude and make it seem like it's our fault. It wasn't our fault. And I would have really liked a little bit of more, customer service.
Customer service. All right. Very interesting for Erica. This tip is for everyone. Don't leave a huge mess for the flight attendants to clean up. It's not your house. Yeah, recently when I got on my plane, it was just like covered in crackers and stuff and trash. And it's not, they can't clean up everything. Just clean up after yourself.
I thought there's a cleaning crew that comes in.
It takes like 30 seconds. They have no time to do it.
The cleaning crew comes in. They're usually waiting for you when they're waiting there in the front of the plane when you're walking off.
I know, but don't leave a huge mess. Like, consolidate.
You can just tell Brandon leaves a mess.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
Brandon's right.
My stuff in
Brandon's right. That's why our flight was 2 hours delayed, because the cleaning crew was also.
Brandon's breaking up animal crackers and leaving them on the floor.
I like giraffe animal crackers.
There we go. What happened to animal crackers?
You had to replace them with the fish fillet sandwiches.
Fish fillets are excellent, and I'm gonna go down with that shit. What are you guys getting?
Okay, DBL Nation, write us in if you agree that fish fillet is awesome and not an old man choice. All right, flight attendants are trained in safety first, like handling fires, bomb threats, and medical emergencies, and trained second in hospitality. They are not just servers. So that's interesting to know, because people do sort of treat them like waiters, and they're there for your safety. You think?
But what do you? I mean, but you're going to use them for soda more than you will for your safety.
Right.
I don't think I've ever.
Statistics say that.
Yes, you hope.
Right.
You hope.
And I respect flight attendants. I'm just saying, but I can see how people get a little out of line. I think people just like the whole serving thing. They like to let somebody know they're lower than them.
Some people live to go out and let somebody know that they are lower.
Yes. And if you're dating someone and they do that to a flight attendant or a waiter, they'll do that to you.
Have you ever been out with somebody and they're mean to the waiter?
You're
like
snapping to the waiter.
That is a no. If I had $1 for every time somebody told me as a bartender that I was just a bartender,
that's it.
I could have paid for college.
You gotta leave that man or woman. We got a must-watch TV list for the summer hottest shows you shouldn't miss coming up next.
Hi, DBL Nation. I have a story to you.
Hey, Raquel.
Oh, hey. Brandon's just running right into my shot. So this story is actually about R. Kelly, and it's one of his, he used to be a mentor to Keke Palmer, and now she's actually speaking out against him. She says on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that nothing happened, but she saw the documentary and still feels this guilt because that's not the person she knew, and she questions why she never saw that side of him. So now, even though she wasn't affected like that, she relates more to the people that were in the documentary. So I just want to know what you think about this DBL Nation. What do you think is going to happen towards the end? Like, how long does R. Kelly have before he goes to trial? Do you think he'll go to jail? Let me know, and I will talk to you next break.
So it costs $445 to buy this. Welcome back to DBL. Some of summer's hottest TV shows are premiering this month, and it's all about familiar faces in new places. Here are the shows you should see this July.
You're in.
Court is dismissed. Pursuits, that is. The legal drama returns for its 9th and final season with Katherine Heigl back at the helm. Don't get your hopes up for a Meghan Markle cameo. Old favorites are rumored to make guest appearances, just not the Duchess of Sussex. Or so we think. There's only one way to find out for sure. The final season begins July 17th on USA. Kristen Bell is back as the snaky sleuth Veronica Mars, more than a decade after the show's last episode. The revival takes fans back to Neptune, California, but follows a new storyline featuring newcomers like J.K. Simmons and Patton Oswalt. That doesn't mean Veronica is off the hook. Showrunners say Veronica will face her past once and for all.
You know what they say about small packages?
That you've got one?
What?
You have till July 26th to rewatch old episodes before the reboot premiere on Hulu.
They're guilty of something.
So what are you waiting for? Get to watching.
Are you guys ready to learn about who we're helping tonight?
A very special shout out to Queer Eye returning for a 4th season, featuring our friends Karamo Brown and Bobby Burke.
I've never had a conversation with a gay person before. Oh. We'll see how it goes.
The feel-good makeover show will follow the Fab Five in Kansas City for another season, as they help change the lives of 8 new heroes.
Jeez, honey.
Make sure you're stocked up on tissues before Queer Eye returns to Netflix July 19th.
Try not to cry. Try not to lose it.
I'll take that challenge, but I will lose. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
First of all, I just want to give a shout out to John Vittorini, who says, only thing better than a fillet of fish is a double fillet of fish, which McDonald's runs like once a year, where for an extra $1 you get another fake fish patty, which I'm down with. So shout out to that. Thank you, John, for bringing that up. Erica, what's your McDonald's order?
Definitely 2 cheeseburgers with extra pickles.
I like that you get the extra pickles. That's why I'm not completely attacking you. But a fillet of fish is better than McDonald's cheeseburger.
That's not true.
It is.
I'm making a post right now. I need to know, is it Monday or Mondays on iTunes?
Oh, Monday.
Monday.
Thank you. Monday, my album. You can get it on iTunes. Thank you.
iTunes and what else?
Spotify, all the streaming, Amazon Music. Who would have thunk? Request me on Sirius XM.
In all streaming networks?
Networks, wow. There's a word for when you don't know any technical terms. On all forms of electronic movements.
Platforms?
Wow, yes. Platforms, says the... How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, so you're a millennial. He's a young millennial.
I'm technically a millennial. I'm an elder millennial, 38.
38, there you go.
Elder millennial.
You're a millennial with a walking stick.
That's not, who's the comedian? Liza something?
Schlesinger?
Yeah, I think so. It's a funny special too.
Yeah, so.
Sorry.
I feel like you're taking a shot at me because I'm not a millennial.
I'm not taking.
I'm a Gen Y.
And it works for you.
Wow.
No. Oh my gosh! I can't say anything.
Is your husband a millennial?
He's a millennial.
Oh.
I'm older.
Am I the oldest person in Denver?
Yes.
I think I am. It's me and John Elway. It's all right.
Well, okay, John Elway is the elder statesman, but you're right there.
You know what I found out is Dirk Nowitzki is younger than me. That would hurt. It's like, wow. Do you know who he is?
Well, he just retired.
Yeah. Well, he always thought, it's like, man, he's old. I was like, wow.
No, Dirk looks older. I think people like that stature. Well, no, because Brandon has a big one.
German dude. What a shooter.
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh my God, my friends named their dog Dirk.
Really?
Yeah, because he was a tall man, very, very tall
Yes.
dog.
I was such a big fan of Dirk Nowitzki. I heard he's a great guy, too.
Welcome back to DBL. Alaska is dealing with a record heat wave right now, and everyone is doing what they can to stay cool, even the wildlife. Check out this video of a moose just chilling in a sprinkler. The owner of Big Swig Tours in Anchorage captured the moment and says the animal was sprinkler hopping from yard to yard before finally settling down for a good soak. No joke though, high temperatures will continue to take a run at 90 degrees. In Alaska, normal temps this time of year, mid-60s.
So this is inside. Right before we came back on, Al's like, it's 90 degrees in Alaska. Nobody's talking about it. Moose are even talking.
That's right. Everyone's aware.
We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.